almost played Uriah Heep today. Should have been, she'd have been on in Seventh Heaven, wouldn't she? Isn't she going out with all of them? Or one of them? She owns one of their albums or something. I can't remember. If it happened on this show, I've got no idea. Anyway, this is the 86th hour. I've already been on the air today, so if I feel a bit, that's the reason why. So let's have a little name check. Has anybody been cancelled after 43 years by the BBC today? No? Anybody been put up for eviction this week? Jeered at by crowds who threw eggs? No? Everyone's present and correct. That's excellent. Hey, Lucy, I don't want to use your real name, so today I'll call you Lucy.
OK, that sounds good to me.
Has anyone stomped off the pitch and punched the dugout and then taken their boots off and thrown them to the ground like a 5-year-old? No? Oh, that was embarrassing. He's representing this country. That great lump. It's the sort of behaviour that would get a kid's shorts pulled down in the supermarket and have his legs slapped, wouldn't it? That's pathetic. He virtually threw himself on the ground, kicking and screaming. Awful. And he only just shook the hand of Sven. He almost took it right off, didn't he? As he went by, almost pulled his arm off at the shoulder. Poor bloke. Because of why? Because he got substituted late in the match. What, with about 15 minutes to go? 30 minutes, something like that. Perfectly reasonable excuse to take him off, because when somebody that fat gets tired, they quite possibly injure themselves. Is Frank Lampard carrying a bit of weight? Because he swapped shirts with someone in the last game, and either he's a bit fat for an athlete, or he's carrying a tyre of muscle around his waist. One of the two. They're either on their backs covered in plaster, or they look like the kind of bloke that you'd see on the beach in Brighton with a hanky on their head and trousers rolled up with a bag of chips, delicately balanced in the crease where their stomach meets their chest. What a lovely thought, eh, Lucy?
Oh, that's revolting.
Lovely. Right, let's go straight into it, shall we? Here's Cheshire. Stephen.
Hello, Nick. Hey, Nick, have you heard about the new law that makes it illegal to give away money in the street?
No.
Well, there was a bloke in Aberystwyth sometime this weekend.
Yeah, he threw... was it this weekend?
Yeah, it was on the BBC anyway.
Oh, well, it was probably a couple of weeks ago. They've only just caught up. Yeah. Didn't he throw 10 grand in the air or something?
5 grand, I think.
5, right.
And then the police said, if you don't give it back, we won't take any action.
Against who?
I don't know. The people who picked the money up.
Picked the money up?
Yeah, the free money.
So this guy, I think he drew up at an intersection.
That's it?
He was proceeding in a northerly direction. Why do the police use the sort of language that nobody else uses ever?
Oh, they all sound the same, don't they?
I apprehended the suspect as he was proceeding southwest. So he pulled up an intersection, rolled down the window. If he's got 5 grand in cash, he probably pressed the button. Why do we need a button to roll the window down? I mean, of all the labour-saving devices that we need a half a mile of cabling and batteries in the car just to roll the window down. That's pathetic, isn't it? I mean, we don't have electric windows at home, and they're huge. We do it manually. And we're further away from them generally. We have to get up out of our sofa and walk all the way over there to the window and open it manually. Who has a button to open their windows in their house? In our cars, we're sitting right next to it. We couldn't be nearer. And we're not prepared to lift our hand just that extra 6 inches to open the window by hand. We have to. Oh, it's completely broke down there. We have to have it done automatically for us.
I bet you've got a TV remote control, though, haven't you?
Yeah. Could you imagine going back to the days when we didn't have a remote control?
Getting up them 6 inches away from the television.
Well, children used to be the remote control, didn't they?
Yeah.
We don't want to watch this, do we? Said my mum. Oh, God.
Anyway, how can you complain about working for 1 day a week?
I don't work for 1 day a week. I work for 2 days a week.
Oh, dear.
I pack 6 shows in each day. How dare you?
Good value, though.
So, well, I am. No question about no question about that. Yes, I'm tremendously good value.
Anyway, the policeman...
Yes.
Trying to tell people that they won't do anything against them if they give back the free money that's been given freely.
Now, are you sure you got this right? They're not going to prosecute the people that picked it up. They're going to not prosecute the guy who threw it away in the first place. Littering, they'd probably call it, wouldn't they?
If you get Lucy to go to the bbc.co.uk news website...
Why bother?
She can look it up for you.
She's doing it right now.
I would suggest that probably they will get fined. You know, we need fining for something else.
And the top story is someone has annexed the Sudetenland. They're really catching up, aren't they?
I'm doing an essay on that this weekend.
Are you really? You have my sympathies. And what's the essay called?
I've got to compare two documents on that about Hitler, basically.
Hitler was a very bad man. You can write that down.
Yeah.
That's free information.
A good propagandist, though. A bit like Blair, I suppose.
Yeah, and he, I don't know, am I alone in this? Because you look at Hitler and the way he salutes and the way he sort of marches around and his love of those uniforms.
Yeah.
And I think, is Hitler a little light in the lederhosen?
Well, you wonder if he's homosexual?
Yes.
Well, there was debate about that, wasn't there?
Was there?
Yeah.
I thought it was just me, because he marches around and he flicks his hand up like that, and it looks just a bit fey to me.
I wouldn't have told him, though.
No, quite right, no. I wouldn't even have told his dog.
So do you think, then, what do you think about this with free money? How can that be illegal?
Well, it's just, is there a single thing that you can do in this country that doesn't get you fined?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just getting ridiculous, isn't it?
Yep, it is.
And they're working on a procedure to stop the traffic wardens from ruining our lives. Hands up anybody who thinks they're going to do that. They make billions a year, isn't it? Over £1 billion, £1.3 billion a year, sucking the money out of the drivers' wallets.
I'd like to know how much actual tax we pay a year. Everything.
Well, we've just passed the tax date, haven't we? I think it's about.
I mean
it's about halfway through the year.
VAT, every tax you can think about. How much do we pay? Every time you get on a plane, you pay tax. Every time you go and fill your car up with petrol, you pay it as well, don't you? I mean, how much do we actually pay?
Well, don't get upset. I mean, you know, there's nothing we can do about it. We can moan and whine and bitch about it. There's absolutely nothing we can do.
Anyway, if you get fed up, have a listen to Afternoon Delight.
Afternoon Delight. Oh, was it you, was it?
Yeah, did you listen to it?
I didn't, because the place that you sent me the clip won't allow attachments, but I resent it home, and I will listen to it later. Afternoon Delight by, don't tell me.
Oh, I've forgotten who it's by, beginning with S. Afternoon
Delight. Starland Vocal Band.
That's it, yeah.
How did I come up with that? I haven't thought of that name for, since it first came out. The Starland Vocal Band. My mind constantly amazes me. I can't remember from 1 second to the next to do something. I just increased the money on my tube card thing. What do they call that? Ocado or avocado or Arivocado? What do they call that thing?
I've forgotten now because I don't live in London anymore.
And I have to get a receipt, right? Because I only use the tube in case of an emergency when I'm going to work.
Yeah.
And so I had to get a receipt because the taxman must compensate me fully for my, for abusing me in this way. Yeah. And so I thought, I'll get the receipt. And I pressed the money to show how much I wanted, and I forgot to press the button that's marked receipt. How can I forget from 1 second to the next? And remember, 30 years ago, it was the Starland Vocal Band. Talk about a one-hit wonder.
And you say your memory's rubbish.
It is rubbish.
Hey, who was it that did Afternoons Delight? It was one...
The Starland Vocal Band, I just told you.
I don't mean that. The show. It was a
I think it was,
show. It wasn't Tony Myatt.
Wasn't it Roger Scott?
No, it wasn't him. It was somebody on a Saturday afternoon on the CAP station.
Gerald...
No, it wasn't Gerald Harper.
Gerald Harper.
Oh, perhaps someone out there will remember.
It wasn't Topless Tony Myatt.
No, I used to love him, didn't you? Did you beat the intro?
No.
Oh, I thought that was fantastic, that.
We're strolling down Mammary Lane here. I've got a picture in my head of the first catalogue from that radio station that they ever released. It was a cartoon of all the DJs in the bus, and Kenny Everett's face was right there. And
Graham Dean.
Graham Dean. Doodly-doo-doo-doo. When Graham Dean used to take over from Mike Smith,
Yeah.
they used to sound so exactly alike.
That's right.
That you could never tell when one, because they used to have a chat with each other, and you could never tell the difference between the two. You had no clue which one was speaking. So it was almost like the same person was doing 6 hours in the morning.
But I would guess that the likes of Graham Dean and Mike Smith would, in your DJ terms, would have driven their desk. But I wouldn't see Michael Aspel as doing that later.
No, he'd have his feet up, must be smoking a cigar and sipping some champagne, I would wonder.
I mean, do you drive your desk?
Well, kind of half and half. All the important bits, no. The important bits get done through 6 inches of bulletproof glass through there by our man Alex.
Yeah.
How's it going, Alex?
Yes.
Is the show being engineered successfully so far?
I'd say so.
Well, that's the word from the top.
Are you half watching Mexico as well?
No, TV off. I can't, because if the TV's on, then I just stop thinking and watch the TV.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, how most of my life goes.
Clive tried that the other night, and he wasn't listening much to the callers, but England was on.
I heard a little bit.
Yeah, it was quite funny. Anyway, I can't monopolise your programme.
Well, it sounds like you have.
But I thought that was funny about the police and giving free money away.
All right, well, I've got it here. Thanks a lot, Stephen.
Okay, bye.
Most of the estimated £5,000 thrown into the air in a town centre and picked up by passers-by has now been handed back. Handed back? Why? Shoppers and motorists at a pedestrian crossing in Aberystwyth rushed to grab the cash on Monday, seconds after a man shouted, "Who wants free money?" Who wants free money? Anybody?
No.
No. Police arrested the man, and later said he was... Now, this is awful. Okay, just the idea that to give away money would result in you, in quotes, receiving medical treatment. Like he must be a loon. Is that the suggestion? He just might be a nice guy. You know, you give a coin in some poor tyke's cup that you can't walk down the centre of London. Every 5 yards there's somebody asking for spare change, please. Does that still happen? I don't really do London anymore. I can't be bothered with it. If I go into central London, it's to go to work, and I go straight to work and then straight back out again. But I imagine they're still there, aren't they? The detritus of society.
They're usually by the cash machines.
By the cash machines, right. And their accomplices are lurking in the background, ready to steal your PIN numbers. I've read about that. Anyway, police arrested the man. Arrested the man! I mean, that's for littering. What? There's a picture of it there. I can't believe that they actually got a picture of the money fluttering around in the air. Dyfed Powys Police had appealed to people to give it back, but will not say exactly how much has been returned. The police spokesman said the vast majority of the money has been returned. Can you believe that? The vast majority. £5,000. I mean, people were picking up hundreds and hundreds of pounds, and because the police asked for them to give it back, they said, yeah, all right then. It's a fair cop, gov. There's so many mice in here. I don't mean actual rodents. I mean, there's like about 6 of them, isn't there? And each one controls a different screen. Each screen is giving off radiation. I've got tumours growing out my eyeballs here. Virtually need to do this show in a lead suit. Mr. Jones said, everybody says that people aren't as honest as they used to be, but look what's happened. There's bound to be a few bad apples in every town, but on the whole, people in Aberystwyth are honest and decent. He added, I recognise most of the people in the CCTV... I recognise most of the people on the CCTV footage picking up the money, so I'm glad they've handed it in. That sounds like a threat. It's like, I know where you live. But how would they prove how much they picked up? I mean, some of it could have been, McDonald's wrappers. Oh, doesn't that sound like a bit, sinister? I recognise you. Police said no action would be taken against the people who... Police said no action would be taken against the people who returned the money. As though he's doing them a favour. I'm confused. I mean, apart from anything else, you'd think that that's actually picking up litter. Really? Isn't it? The guy's thrown it away. I mean, I suppose, on a technicality, you could get him for littering with money. But not picking it up. How is that an offence? What, you're just supposed to stand there? I didn't earn it, so I'm just supposed to let it flutter by. Hang on. Ads at 15. Being abused already. I know, I'm 3 minutes late. This is very important. Police said no action will be taken. The incident happened. The incident. That's more police speak, isn't it? Incident. Whoever... It's just the thing... Oh, never mind. Alexandra Road. It happened on Monday the 11th. BST. Just 11. 11 o'clock in the morning. BST. Later, police arrested a 40-year-old man for driving offences in nearby Aberystwyth. John Morris saw what happened from outside his shop in nearby Terrace Road, and also caught it on his CCTV system, which scans the area near the town's railway station. I just couldn't believe my eyes. People were shocked and couldn't believe it. So, if you see money on the ground, never pick it up because you'll be in. Oh, there you go. It's completely gone, lost. You'll be under the. Oh, please finish this for me.
Arrested?
Yeah, all right.
That'll
It
do.
wasn't quite what I was after, but it will do. In an emergency.
Hello, Nick.
How's
How
it
you
going?
doing?
I'm all right.
Yeah, so, well, as you mentioned on the top of the show, the devastating news this week about Top of the Pops.
Yeah, no one cares.
Yeah. But don't you think that was always a bizarre show, wasn't it? I mean, the presenter, Jimmy Savile, for a start. I mean, he's always been old like that. I mean, now that Darwin's tortoise died, he's probably the oldest living thing in the world.
Yeah, can you believe it? Darwin's tortoise died. Oh, poor wrinkled thing.
And how did he do it? Had a heart attack?
Yeah, how do they know it had a heart attack? They prise it open with a can opener. And poor little thing. Huge, by the way. Yeah, Top of the Pops is gone.
Yeah.
No one's remotely interested. When was the last time you saw Top of the Pops there, Luce?
Oh.
Not for ages.
Not for ages, no.
I bet it's the 80s since I've seen it. Gotta be.
Well, in my day, it used to be quite exciting because it was the only pop show that was on television. But even in my day, it was rubbish because everyone used to mime. And still, we look at the charts through rosy headphones, and we think that music used to be great then, but it wasn't.
It never did.
Pop music's always been rubbish.
I think Alan Freeman was probably about the best presenter for it, but
No. I like John Peel because it didn't seem like he was remotely interested.
Did Kenny Everett do it? Oh, well, I imagine that.
Didn't Kenny Everett bring a cow into the studio? Or was that John Peel? It sounds like something that Kenny Everett would do, yeah. I think. Yeah. But he was so busy, the BBC was so busy firing the best DJ they ever had that he probably, every time he showed up for work, they said, oh, no, you're a bit too interesting for us, I'm afraid.
Yeah, you hear these stories now that it's finishing. I don't know if it's true, but I read this week in, probably tabloids or something, it is, that, when you watch Top of the Pops, there's people swaying, out of time and stuff.
Yeah.
And apparently that's because if you don't dance when you're in the audience, you get chucked out. That's kind of like be the worst thing in the world. I was chucked out of Top of the Pops. You'd have to emigrate.
It's the constant whooping and screaming in the latter years that got me. It's just so fake because British people can't do that. I mean, Americans whoop and scream their face off, in church, but we just it's not in us. And so to make us do that, it was just wrong. It was embarrassing. I mean, I was embarrassed watching that as much as when I used to watch it. And, this was in the days when people like Sweet and Roy Wood from Wizard and David Bowie used to come on in a one-legged leotard and all that sort of stuff. And then your dad would walk in the room and there's tension in the room because you could, without even looking at him, you could see that the disapproval oozing out of every pore. And, of course, you had to stand up for it because you were watching it. But you knew that you couldn't really justify it. But you had to stand up for it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, the stupidest thing I remember, I suppose it's the most famous as well, the Texas Midnight Runners thing, when they did Jackie Wilson said.
And they put up a picture of the darts player.
Oh, cool, what's that deliberate or what? I mean,
Can you imagine the board meeting? Yeah, right, like Dexter's Midnight Runners is coming on. They want a picture of Jockey Wilson because it's in the title. And how could you make the mistake?
I know.
One's a black soul singer, one's a fat darts player.
Yeah. He should have been playing for England.
What, Jockey Wilson or Jockey?
Jockey Wilson. He could have fit right into the changing rooms, wouldn't he? They could have swapped diet tips. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, hey Adrian, you want to have a go at the game? I haven't played this in weeks. Okay, the game. Here we go.
I'm gonna fall flat on my backside.
Flat on your face. Number one.
Is that Mr. George Bush?
George Bush, yeah.
And that's as far as I'm gonna go.
Now this bloke's been in the news almost every day for about a year. Easy. Oh, come on.
Michael Owen.
No, narrow it down. Does he sound English? I mean, that's not English, is it?
That's
use your logical
very
brain.
Christian.
I mean, you've watched Star Trek enough. Use logic.
William Shatner.
William... No, he's not in Star Trek. It's just the logical part, Captain. So he's not English. He is... narrow it down. American, right. Who's the most famous American in the entire history of the world?
Bill Gates.
Bill Gates. You are rubbish at this. No. But thanks for playing.
Okay.
Ta-ta.
Bye-bye.
This is LBC 97.3. Here's one in St Albans. Hello, Ricky.
Oh, how you doing?
Hey, Ricky, you're so fine. You're so fine. You'll blow my mind. Hey, Ricky.
No, it's Mickey, not Ricky.
Hey, Ricky.
How you doing?
I'm all right.
Yeah, you know that guy that was giving the money away in Aberystwyth?
Yes.
Well, I think the police could have charged him with, well, it might not have been his money for one thing, for starters, and they possibly could have charged him with inciting a riot.
Reckless endangerment, yeah.
Yeah. But, I mean, I don't agree with the police. I think it's blooming stupid, but they are. There's several things they could charge him for.
I can't believe that people actually gave it back. What possessed them? Other than the implicit threat by the policeman, I know who you are. That's awful.
What's going on here, then?
Yeah, what's it got to do with him? I mean, if it's stolen money, then it should go back. If it's the bloke's money, you just want to throw it away, whether he's ill or not, then it's got nothing to do with the police.
Yeah, do you know what the housing situation's like in Aberystwyth in case there's any more going on?
Do I know what the housing situation is like? Awful.
You'll move up
probably.
there.
Little two-bed houselets, all in grim grey terraces.
Do you know, that must have been the incident of the year. 'Cause I can't imagine anything else happening.
Anything else happening in Aberystwyth? No.
Oh,
Another old people's home opened. That's it.
wow, whoopee. You're talking about taxis?
Were we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not taxis, taxis.
Taxes.
Yeah. You know, there's 2 new ones coming up, don't you?
Oh, I don't doubt it.
Well, first of all, you're going to be charged for breathing. Everybody's going to be fitted with a breathometer. And the other one is a fault meter. And that goes on a sliding charge. The more dirty and erotic fault that you have, the higher the fine is. And nobody will be exempt. Everybody's going to be fitted with one. And you'll have to pass through one of those magnetic loops that they got at the airports. How's that grab you?
You've thought about this, haven't you, Ricky?
Well,
You've been up all night with a pen and paper.
No, not exactly.
You've got material.
Well, I wouldn't call it
That completely shut him up. Hey, thanks, Ricky. Hey, Lucy, please save me from callers with material. Honesty seems to be the theme so far. People actually gave away money that they found in the street. I can't get my head around that, because Aberystwyth is not it's not like everyone's a millionaire there. It's not like somebody threw money in the air in Belgravia, and people only stooped to pick up the £20 notes and let the fivers just waft by. I mean, people are poor over there, aren't they? And they gave it, but I don't get it. Well, here's another one. A football fan who returned 2 World Cup tickets because they'd been sent to him by mistake was rewarded for his honesty with 2 more. Isn't that great? Heartwarming. Paul Eric, a builder of Greater Manchester, had the chance to see England's group match against Sweden, but sent the tickets back to McDonald's, who then gave him 2 more tickets for his honesty. Isn't that super? They gave him tickets to Holland and Portugal. He had a chance to see England-Sweden, and then he sent the tickets back, and in reward for being so upstanding, they sent him a couple of tickets for Holland-Portugal.
What?
Oh. So there you are. You see, honesty doesn't pay. In proof. In writing. Hey, there's a story from my old school. You know where people often, you'll see stories of your old alma mater. Where did you used to go to school, Luce?
I went to St Catherine's Convent School.
You didn't.
I did.
Did you?
Yes.
Did they used to beat you?
No.
Were they awful, awful people? Twisted, freaky people who shouldn't be allowed around children?
Well, there was some rather strange stuff with checking our navy knickers, but that was about as bad as it got.
I think we've heard too much. But, I used to go to a place in Chelmsford called Boswell's Comprehensive. They can probably hear us in Chelmsford, can't they?
Probably.
Essex is flat. The signal will carry. Well, it doesn't, you don't see Boswell's Comprehensive come up in the news very often. In fact, never. And it could have been a story about, an ex-pupil who'd done well because of the tremendous education that they got there, turned around and, donated £1 million to build a new sports wing, or something like that. Wouldn't that be great? No, not like that. Teachers are boycotting a disruptive teenager after their school was forced to readmit her. Leanne Smee. A descendant from Captain Hook's boat, was permanently excluded from Boswell School in Chelmsford, Essex. It's still standing after throwing a rugby ball at a teacher during a science lesson. Why would a rugby ball be in a science lesson? Since she returned in March, teachers have refused to have her in their classrooms, and a tutor has been brought in for one-to-one lessons. David, the headmaster, said that the teacher's decision was made because of, guess what? Health and safety reasons. Is there a phrase that is received with more jollity than health and safety? It's just a catch-all for everything. We've become, it's just a silly nation. Everything. If you can't do something, it's always health and safety. But it never used to be that way. People used to put their lives on the line just to do the simplest of things. Like painting, for instance. We had somebody come out and paint our balcony. And they wouldn't lean over... Well, at first they refused to lean over the balcony to paint the little box. Anyway, all they meant was they had to lean over a couple of feet. And they said, oh, no, we can't do that. We need scaffolding on the outside of the building. I mean, I live half a mile up in the air. It would have cost £10 million. And all they had to do was reach like a foot. Oh, no, we can't do that because of health and safety, they said. I see. When they said that to me, I laughed. And they saw they saw how ridiculous it was, and they did it anyway. Of course you can. Headmaster David said, the students' progress is being closely monitored and we are working cooperatively with the teachers' unions and the local authority to resolve the situation to the benefit and protection of all concerned. I mean, he sounds like a policeman. We've had regular meetings with the students' parents and they've been fully informed. The girls' parents have accused the school of making their daughter a scapegoat and are considering legal action. Great! Sue your school. Now, when people were excluded, I do sound like some crotchety old geezer, don't they? Here comes that phrase again, in my day. Well, if you were sent out of school, if I'd thrown a rugby ball in a science class, I would never have shown up in school again. They wouldn't have allowed it. Now you can sue the school for abusing your human rights. It's insane. We're actually become a silly country, haven't we? What's going on? What's going on, Pat?
Hello there. Mentioning health and safety. Yesterday, I was sort of dusting underneath the keyboard next to my computer.
That's very dangerous.
And I noticed on the little lead from the keyboard to the computer, there was a little tag. And it said, this is a health and safety warning. Please see underneath the keyboard. and there's a sticky label which was at least 4 inches by 4 inches, with all the details about how very dangerous, if you use this too much, that they couldn't, that you could get repetitive strain injury, etc., etc. And I just wondered if anybody else has got them underneath their keyboards.
Crazy. Crazy people. Hey, Noel Edmonds has got repetitive strain injury.
Oh, that's rubbish.
It's not rubbish, it's true.
I'm sorry, you just think of the women that used to do nothing but telephones all day.
Well, that's a good point, yeah.
Yes, I mean, it's just because they've got the words, isn't it?
But they didn't answer the phone with an artistic flourish, and apparently that's what done him in.
Does?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. I can't stand the programme.
Of course, it could have been when he was stroking his beard.
Oh, goodness sake. I think there are more important things. But the thing that worries me about this is that there are people who take it very, very seriously, think, oh, gosh, is it dangerous to use a keyboard? I mean, people have been using typewriters from what's the earliest typewriter? I think about 1880, isn't it?
Well, creationists would disagree with you, because they're...
Oh, would they?
Oh, Lucy's found one. What does it say?
It says on this one as well.
Oh, does it?
Warning, to reduce risk of serious injury to hands, wrists or other joints, read Safety and Comfort Guide.
Yeah.
Do not use this product. May contain nuts.
But it's all to do with suing, isn't it?
It is all to do with suing, yeah, you're quite right. And everything that happens in America happens here 5 years later, and unfortunately we've imported this this sort of legal nightmare that they're swimming around in over there.
With people that it must be somebody else's fault, not theirs.
Yes, no one is taking responsibility for their own actions, you're quite right.
No, right, it's because we haven't had a war.
We haven't had a war in a while.
No, thank goodness,
not on
this, not
on our soil, anyway.
But nobody in this country now has faced real hardship, have they? Not really.
Well,
there must be a few genuine ones, but I mean, we haven't had a real crisis in this country, have we, for years and years?
Well, have you been to Beeston in Leeds?
No.
It's a nightmare.
No, I was at university at least. No, I don't know where Beeston is.
Oh, well, I used to have to drive through it to go to work, and you used to roll up the windows electrically and lock the doors as you went through. Yeah, nightmare.
Yeah, well, we have to do that in Bishop Stortford at night. So.
Bishop Stortford?
Yeah.
You're joking.
No, I'm not joking. Or even the next village. Just because we live very much in the countryside in a little village, but you still get quite a lot of nasties about.
Huh.
I mean, people assume that if you live in the countryside, there isn't any crime. That's a nonsense.
You get countryside crime.
Yes.
Never leave your house. It's very dangerous.
Well, it's just that people will just... I mean, you don't leave trailers about or things like that, you know. They'll come and take your car with a trailer on it, or somebody the other day, or some months back, had left their caravan already packed to go away, went off shopping, and when they came back, the whole thing had gone.
Good. No one should own a caravan.
No, if you don't own anything, it can't be stolen.
Yes, that's a good point.
Right.
Thanks a lot, Pat.
OK, bye-bye.
Ta-ta. This is LBC. Smacking, there's another thing you can't do. Hey, do you know what? I'll get into smacking in a while. Oh, you know Saddam Hussein was on hunger strike? Did you hear about that?
No.
If only Mahmoud Ahmadinejad would be on hunger strike. But no, it was Saddam. We've got him already. And the happiest day just occurred. Did you hear about this? Yeah, was it yesterday or the day before?
Was it summer
No,
solstice?
I think it was Friday.
Oh.
Friday was the happiest day of the year, according to a psychologist. The combination of sunshine and England's progress in the World Cup means the country is in a very optimistic mood, says Dr. Cliff of the University of Cardiff. He has devised a formula, oh good, for measuring mood through outdoor activity, energy levels and sunlight. He's used a similar method to calculate that January 23rd was the most depressing day. You remember January 23rd?
Oh, I was very unhappy then.
His formula is... Can you guess? That's right. O plus N times S, brackets, plus CPM over T plus HE. How did you guess that? In which O stands for being outdoors. So we'll go through this, right? Outdoors plus the product of nature times social interaction plus childhood summers and positive memories over temperature plus holidays and anticipating time off. Today was pinpointed as the happiest day of the year because of its added, thank goodness it's Friday feeling. When I say today, this is... Dr. Cliff said, I wanted my formula to prove the key to happiness can be really simple. And what this formula proves is that Dr. Cliff has way too much time on his hands.
Nick Ferrari at breakfast.
Rob?
Hey, hello.
How are you?
How are you?
What?
How are you?
I'm all right. We said, how are you, over each other.
Yes, sorry, I was looking at something on the wall.
What?
A bit of paper and nothing. It's the gas board number. Thinking why it was there.
That's what you put up on your wall, the gas board number?
I think it's next to the phone. So
Not that picture of a woman on a tennis court scratching her arse. The gas board number you put up on your wall.
oh yeah, that's in the lavatory. Anyway, lavatory. Blimey, listen to me. Bog. I'm at a crossroads.
Awful,
in my life,
isn't
and
it?
I thought you perhaps
A crossroads,
yeah,
great.
The
How can I help?
first time I actually feel old.
How old are you?
21.
21. Oh, blimey, you've got loads to go yet, mate.
You're nearing 50, aren't
You just wait. As shocking as that sounds to me, yes.
Blimey.
I'm nearer 50 than I am 30. I can't believe that.
Not long
I'm
to the old age
so
pension.
depressed. That bloke was wrong. Today's the most depressing day of the year.
Well, many bizarre things have happened to me recently. So today I moved out of my student house of 2 years. It's quite emotional.
And how many trips did that take? 1.
No, about 6.
6? What have you got?
Oh, tons of... well, I don't know, you were a student once. You buy bizarre little things that make you laugh. There was a CD Frankie Howard made before he died called Get Your Titters Out. Things like that.
Well, that would require 1 trip.
Yeah, but...
I mean, what were you in? A car or you...
Oh, yeah.
Right.
A car, and then there's lots of videos, lots of Mike Reed stand-up tapes.
Crispy sheets, that sort of thing.
Sheets, yes. Yeah, well, dirty plates.
I
All in the
bet.
bag. Couldn't be bothered to wash them.
Mhm.
Brought them back. So all my friends have left. That's depressing. My parents have decided to sell the house I've lived in for the last 21 years. So moving somewhere horrible.
That's trying to get rid of it before you arrive back. No forwarding address.
It's funny how you appreciate something just because you're bound to miss it. I was discussing with my friend last night because we have to now think of our careers. It's the question of, do we want happiness over money or money over happiness? We want to wake up every morning thinking, yes, I'm going to work today, but I'm not getting paid that much really, but I'm looking forward to it, or I'm getting paid a lot. I have to work a lot of overtime. I don't really like the job.
Definitely happiness. Well, after a certain amount of money, I mean, you need a certain amount of money, right?
Yeah.
But as long as you're earning, what, 250, 300,000 pounds a year, then I would always choose happiness.
Yeah. Well, I think I'll be going back. That's something I thought I'd never do. I'd probably work at radio.
Don't do it. Do not work in radio. Do not work in radio. Do not work in radio. At all. Ever.
No!
Don't do it.
I have to. I will regret if I don't do it. I know I will.
You'll regret it if you do it. I know you will.
Hey,
You want to be a DJ?
No.
Hey!
No, don't want to be a DJ.
Huh?
I don't want to be a DJ, no. More like a producer.
Say rock and roll.
Rock and roll! Rock and roll. I don't want to be a DJ. I'm a talk show host. I'm you. The young version.
Well, then you've got a lot of grief coming. Believe me. There aren't enough talk stations to... there's no more room for any more talk show hosts.
I was listening to James Whale with Steve Wright the other day on his show, and he said it's a growing format in this country.
You were listening to James Whale with Steve Wright?
Yeah. James Whale was on the Steve Wright show yesterday.
He was?
Yeah.
Why?
He was promoting some charity set up. The James Whale Foundation.
I'm sorry, that just sounds funny.
It's something to do with...
Well, don't tell us, because it's probably not something I should be laughing about.
No, probably true. Yeah, so you're saying this, Kelvin thinks that it's a growing format?
Because there's the Bill and Belinda Gates Foundation, James Whale Foundation. I mean, that's the second one you would think of, right?
James Whale, he's got a lot to give back.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's a cuddly character, really. You met him.
And by cuddly, do you mean fat?
Yeah.
Right.
Cute. Rub his cheeks, like hamster. So, what do you think I should do, Nick?
He thinks it's a growing format.
Yeah.
Well, it couldn't get any smaller, could it? I
Well,
mean,
they got that talk station in Glasgow now, is it? I don't know
Have
what
they?
that's doing.
well, you don't want to go up there, do you?
Oh, no, don't go there.
I mean, the Scottish people won't like you.
Why?
Believe me, they won't. Unless you're Scottish, they don't like talk show hosts in Scotland.
Yeah, I can't see myself. Well, I've tried. I did a student radio talk show. Now imagine how painful that is. You get no listeners,
Well, no callers,
and
yeah.
you get no callers. So you're talking to your co-host, and you're forgetting you're on there, so you start swearing and do everything else. Oh, awful.
Well, if you have a co-host, if you have someone like Carol,
Yeah.
then you don't need any callers.
No, well, it got different. Me and him had different ideas about what the show was.
Oh, and it was artistic differences. That's why
Yeah.
you and your co-host had to part.
I
Right.
was listening to our first shows from 3 years ago the other day. Basically, I was ripping you off quite badly.
Well, I rip off Neil Rogers, so everybody rips off everybody else. I think is the credo in this business.
But I think I have to do it because it's this or the law, and I know the law will get paid and all, but I think my heart's in there.
Here's what you should do: do the law and do free radio on the side, because you can't go straight into professional radio unless you're a genius or really, really lucky.
Well-
In fact, talent hasn't got anything to do with it.
No,
Just
no,
tune in any radio station in the country, and there'll be people who absolutely flat out should not be on the air on that station. Mostly music stations, because if you're a talk show host, you're nude in front of the audience. But if you're a DJ, you can hide behind the music. And so any dope can be a DJ. You could be a DJ, Rob, and I mean that kindly.
Thank you. I've tried being a DJ. I did an audition for someone. They thought it was awful. But I did my talk show, and they liked that.
Well, see, now I've said this before, and I think I'm right. I think that DJ's days are numbered. I think the radio DJ is on the way out, because there's an entire generation growing up with iPods, and soon they'll have music on the mobile phones, and very shortly, every electrical device that you ever buy will be always on, internet connected through Wi-Fi. The whole country will be bathed in Wi-Fi, which of course will be giving us all tumour of the ear. Or they'll find out that it's just as bad as living underneath mobile phone masts, which they're wisely putting on schools, by the way. Have you noticed that? Insane.
Have they banned that?
Have they?
Or perhaps I heard that. Or perhaps, yeah. I'm sure, yeah, I thought it was some campaign, or perhaps I saw something on BBC Parliament accidentally once. It was a 10-minute rule or something.
BBC Parliament. You don't what? That must have been by accident.
Yeah, well, they've changed all the channels on Sky, so you look for Sky.
Oh, right.
And then, look, there's an old fat woman talking about something.
Where were we?
Mobile phone masts. And
Yes, and so everything that you buy, all those very shortly iPods or MP3 players will be thought of as a bit silly. You buy a thing and you put all your music on it. No, you just buy a thing and it will receive all the music that's ever been made, wirelessly over the air, which will mean that you never need to listen to a music radio station again, because you'll get all the music you want, which you can get now. There's a million streaming stations on the internet. And they haven't got any ads, and they haven't got any DJs, and they haven't got any weather, and they haven't got any this, that, and the other, and all that clutter that people in focus groups always say that they don't like. You ask every radio station does focus groups, and they'll go out and say, what don't you like? And the first thing they always say is, well, we don't like the DJs, because they natter on about rubbish all the time, we can't stand it.
Yeah.
And we don't like ads, and we don't like the weather, and we don't like and the only thing they actually like is the music. But unless you've got the ads and the DJs and the weather and the competitions and all that sort of stuff, you can't run a professional profit-making radio station. So you're actually forcing stuff on people that they don't want. And so eventually, as I say, the generation that's coming up now, they won't be used to that, and they'll just choose not to listen to it. And I think that music radio, and me saying this won't make it happen. But this is what I believe. That it will just die away. And the only thing that you can't automate is the talk format. Unfortunately, there are no talk stations in this country. It's not like America, because, as I've said before, the reason that there's so few stations in this country is the engineers' fault, isn't it, Alex?
Correct.
Because when they started doling them out in the first place, engineers in this country, fools that they were, I think it was mostly the BBC's fault, said, well, we need 6 feet on the radio dial in between every radio station. Whereas in America they said, well, you can just bump them up really, really close, and they won't bleed into each other like the fools said over here. And so that's why you take the radio station, you take the tranny that you're listening to this on now to New York, and you'll pick up 100 radio stations. Yeah. In London, there's what? 3. 6 at most. 6 that any sane person would want to listen to. And that's the reason why. And so there's no and they won't let you change your format, and sort of blah, blah, blah. And so there are no talk stations. There's just this.
Well, I'm sure it's partly to do with the people who own these stations. How does someone... I was thinking this the other day. How does someone, say, program controller of a radio station, how do they get their job? Do they come from business, or are they a former DJ, or what?
I'm sure it's a little bit of everything. Why? What's your point?
Well, the program controller's a problem, sure. I mean, you can get good DJs who play music and in between. But I know you've said this before, but you listen to any local radio station on the country, and you could put anyone there, they all sound the same.
Well, I think that's the problem. I don't think there is no great well of talent in this country because it hasn't been encouraged for a long time now. I mean, back in the day when Kenny Everett and people like that used to be on the air, Alan Freeman and actual real personalities, then people were pretty much allowed to just get on with it and do their thing. But for many years now, radio stations have been nailing presenters down, right? You can't speak for more than 10 seconds, and you must read off the cards, and you must do this, and you must do that, and we don't want any personality, and don't laugh here, only laugh there, and it's like by numbers. And so when you hear a DJ speaking, most of the time they're reading off the screen. Every time they're saying, hey, and coming up on the radio shows, that's all, they're just reading it, which is why you hear the same thing like 10 times every day. And so they have basically smoothed out any personality from radio. And then these very same people look at each other and wonder why there's no talent anymore. Well, it's their fault. And so there is no great well of anarchic talent in this country. All the comic talent in this country goes to television, because that's where they can do their thing. It also pays 100 times more. You want to go to television, mate?
Well,
Think about it.
But there are plenty of talk show hosts, I'll include you here, who are very good, but don't get the exposure they should do. I mean, LBC are doing pretty well. You and Ian Lee. Oh.
It sounds like a butt coming there. Just because I didn't... He's always on edge. I've been speaking to him for years, and he's got the shortest fuse of anybody I ever speak to. Anyway, we're going to have to go to the ads, and, he'll calm down. Take a breath, Rob.
Start your engine!
Seriously, that guy should calm down. As soon as... just because I took a breath and didn't answer him straight away, he just flipped out and slammed the phone down. He thought I'd cut him off. I don't think you got the patience to be a talk show host. Hey, Alan.
Hi.
How's it going?
Not bad. It was just something you said earlier on about the warnings on products and food packets and such like. The best one that I've ever seen, I wanted to scream when I saw it, was on an egg box in, shall I say what brand it was?
Oh, go on.
Tesco's own eggs. On the side of it, warning, may contain eggs.
No, you're making that up. May contain eggs?
Yeah, true as I'm riding this bike. Warning, may contain eggs.
Are you riding a bike?
No, that gospel. It's madness.
Well, that
it's
isn't...
absolute madness, all these... Just in case they get sued for something. May contain...
But what could you possibly be sued for? People buy a box of eggs. What else is it going to contain? Eggs.
Well... The mind boggles, doesn't it?
It does boggle, yeah. I mean, but right enough, packets of nuts do say, warning, may contain nuts.
Yeah. But then a lot of other products which have nut derivatives, they have to put the warnings on because of, people's allergies.
Yeah, well, fair enough. And if you buy a bar of chocolate and it's not got nuts in it, but it's made in a factory where nuts are fondled, then, you have to put a warning right on the label.
Yeah, that's right. That's
which is fair enough, but not on a bag of nuts.
No, or a box of eggs, or it's absolutely crazy. And Billy Connolly said something in one of his shows where he checked into a hotel, and in the room was a hairdryer.
You know what? I don't think we've got time for this, but whatever it is, it's probably not being Billy Connolly. It's something we probably can't broadcast on the air.
On FM. Abbot.
I wonder how you go about arresting 200 people. I mean, that would suggest an enormous force of police, wouldn't it? I mean, you'd need a gigantic butterfly net just to, like... That's a huge number, 200. I mean, it's amazing that they got the space to put them, isn't it? And you go all the way there and you bought your tickets for £10,000, and then because you can't control yourself, you can't stop throwing chairs at people, you get locked up and you miss the match. What a bunch of idiots. Anyway. Are we saving water yet? Huh?
Yes.
Are you?
Well, I turn the tap off when I'm brushing my teeth.
Are you following Ken Livingstone's advice?
I also water the plants with my old washing up water.
That can't be good for them. They're screaming at you. No! If we can only hear plants, you can imagine what the noise would be when you mow the lawn. Every little tiny blade screaming its face off. Oh. They probably are. They're sending out great sonic waves of pain and agony every time you cut the grass, but we just can't hear it.
You think they feel pain?
Grass. Yeah, is that an insane thing to say?
I don't know. Do you think vegetables feel pain when you eat them?
Depends if you've killed them by boiling first. Like a lobster. I mean, if you ate lobster live before you boiled it, it would feel pain.
Well, yes. Well, I should think it probably feels pain when it's dropped into the boiling hot water, doesn't it?
But you didn't answer my question. Are you following Ken Livingstone's advice?
Which has he got other advice apart from the chucking the water that you've already used?
Ken Livingstone said, if it's brown, flush it down.
Oh, no, not that again.
If it's yellow. Let it mellow.
No, I can't play that game, no.
Not just sit. Mellow.
It's fine
like
if
a
you
fine
don't...
wine.
Oh. I think it's fine in the night if you don't want to wake people up and you don't want to flush.
Yeah.
But apart from that, it's a no-go.
Well, I think that's a bit,
I have got a half flush on my loo, though. Have you got a half flush?
No.
You know what you can do if you haven't got a half flush?
Oh, do tell.
You put an inflatable ball inside the tank, because then it doesn't allow as much water to fill up. So that's much more economical.
No, I think you got that wrong. An inflatable ball. It would just sit on the top of the water.
Yeah, I think it's heavier than that. But it takes up the space.
A brick, you mean?
Oh, you could
When you say inflatable ball, do you actually mean brick?
Brick, probably. Makes a lot more sense, yeah.
Or something that sinks?
Yeah, you wouldn't really want it to rise to the top.
No.
Yeah.
Because that would defeat the entire object.
Yeah.
Stunned locals in a drought-hit county watched as engineers fixed a leak and then cleaned the road with a hose pipe. The contractors for Southern Water, one of the firms to impose a hosepipe ban, spent 5 minutes washing down the street instead of clearing the mess with a broom. Last night they were branded hypocrites by angry residents of Sheerness in Kent, who've been repeatedly warned that they face fines for wasting water. Sam Reed said, "We couldn't believe our eyes. First, the water company took ages to actually come out to repair the leak. Then, when they finished, they connected a hosepipe to the mains and spent 5 minutes spraying down the pavements." Southern Water said yesterday that it was company policy to wash down the work areas for health and safety reasons. A spokesman added, "There could have been mud, which posed a risk." That's mud that's impervious to sweeping. Wasteful Thames Water missed its target to cut leakages for a fourth year running despite a 31% hike in profits, says the Super Soaraway. The firm, whose 5 million customers have faced a hosepipe ban since April, lost 197 million gallons a day. I'll read that again. 197 million gallons a day. And the Sun's worked this out for people who can't get their head around millions. Because, once it's over, 100, you just can't get your head around it, can you? Guess how many... They've figured it out in pools. 394 Olympic swimming pools. An Olympic swimming pool is 50 metres long by 20? Anyway, it's huge. It's further than any normal person can swim. You'd have trouble walking that far. 394 Olympic-sized pools, but they also worked it out in cups of tea. Knowing their audience, cups of tea they worked it in 4.7 billion. Which is, how on earth would they come up with that figure? I mean, no calculator would go up to... would have that many digits on it, would it?
No, and it actually doesn't mean anything by when it's that number.
I
does
know.
it?
I mean, they're trying to make 197 million gallons seem more graspable. But then they go from millions into billions. And who knows what a billion is? Who even knows what a billion is? Is it 1,000 million or a million? It depends whether you're in America or not, doesn't it? Isn't America 1,000 million and here is a billion, or will we taken over America's... We don't even know what it is. 4.7 billion comes... Not even Bovis goes through that many cups of tea a day. And did you see this about Geoffrey Robinson? While drought orders and hosepipe bans spread across the country, Labour MP Geoffrey Robinson, the former Paymaster General, has enraged his neighbours by avoiding water restrictions with a private borehole. He's some sort of hole. The Environment Agency says that despite living in an area covered by a hosepipe ban, the MP is not breaking the law because he has a licence to pump water from underground. A licence! In nearby gardens, rhododendrons are wilting and lawns are turning brown, but the flowers and shrubs in the multi-millionaire's 10-acre Surrey estate remain lush, thanks to the gallons of water poured on them every day. The 68-year-old Coventry North West MP has a licence to extract... Guess how much? The average person uses 35 gallons of water a day. Right. 35 gallons. Guess how many he's using a day?
4.7 billion.
You've been listening to this show.
For once.
Guess how much he has a licence to extract every day? The Labour MP, Geoffrey Robinson. Most people use 35 gallons a day. He has a licence to extract...
150.
150 gallons a day.
Yeah.
Close. 22,000. A day. 22,000 gallons a day. He says he's using it for the plants to bed in. About half of Surrey's tap water comes from aquifers, like the one that Mr. Robinson is draining. It's not like you can sink a borehole and you're not taking water out the tap to feed your lawn. That's where the water comes from. It's not a different water source. That's the water source. We're all under a hosepipe ban, and there's a drought order coming our way. Just because he's got money, he thinks he's above it, said a neighbour. They probably just made that up, didn't they? Because if he's got 10 acres in Surrey, all of his neighbours will be behind huge gates with guard dogs and armed response signs. So they wouldn't want to speak to anybody from the papers, will they? They'll send out their militiamen as soon as you press the doorbell. They'll have cameras swivelling in your direction, lasers firing at you. So they didn't speak to a single person. They just made it up. Quite right. Mr. Robinson said, "We have permission to draw up to a certain amount every day. We are well within our limits." He told the Mail on Sunday the water we are using was to water some plants, which were switched round in their place, and it was just to make sure that they bedded in okay. You have to give them a bit of water. And the bit of water... well within the limits of 22,000 gallons a day. Oh, that's good. At least he's doing his bit. He's within the limits. And there's a picture. Somebody took a picture of it, and it looks like he's got Niagara Falls in his... There's a river of water that's not hitting the beds that's coming down his drive. You've never seen so much water. Groundwater levels in parts of the southeast are lower than during the drought of 1976. What a year that was. Ooh, what a light. Huh? Do you remember 76?
I was 1.
You were 1?
So no, I don't really.
I was 0.
Shut up. How could anybody be that young? That's impossible. Hey, Louise.
Hi, Nick. How are you?
I'm all right, thanks.
Good. Right, you were talking about the warnings on packages.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it was the one that I've seen that really made me laugh. It wasn't about what was actually in the package, but it was on the bottom of a box of celebrations, and it said, "Do not read whilst box is open."
You're making it up.
No, honestly, that's what it said. Honestly.
Do not read while box is open.
Yeah.
I don't believe you.
Honestly, I swear it did say that.
What gets me is when you open a packet of porridge, for instance, because I'm eating porridge every morning now, and I'm used to it. It's like a bland bowl of beige every morning, but it fills you up and doesn't bloat you like muesli does. Because I was eating muesli for years and years and years and wonder why I was walking around looking like I'd eaten a space hopper. This giant gut was in front of me. I looked like I played darts for a living. But it was the muesli that was expanding inside of me, because unless you sit it in milk for 10 hours before you eat it, it's going to expand in you, and that's what bloats you out. I couldn't... All bran, that was another thing. It's a huge gut that was in front of me. I virtually needed its own... you know, old people have that walking thing in front of them. I needed one of those. You put a tray on top of those walking things and just balance your gut on it and walk around. That's what all bran used to do to me. Porridge, now, it's because you boil it up first and it expands before you put it in you, then it doesn't expand in you. It's a dream come true, Louise.
I like Weetabix.
Without mentioning any brand names, Weetabix, you say. Where were we? Oh, yeah. So you open the porridge, and but the instructions on how to cook it, idiots that do these packagings. Instead of putting it, because you've got an open thing on the left-hand side of the pack as you look at it, for instance, and so you'd want to put the instructions on the bookend side of the left-hand side, so that you're tipping it up away from you, so that the porridge doesn't fall out. But no, they do it the other way, so that you've got... so that you turn it away from you, read the instructions, and you've got porridge all over the floor. That's just foolish.
People don't think so.
No, they don't.
And puddings as well, that makes them off when it says do not hold box upside down on the bottom of it.
So what have you been up to this week then, Louise?
Yeah, what have I been up to? I've been at college. It's been my last week, so...
What do you do?
I do media.
You do media, right. And what have you learnt this week?
How to do an assignment. We had to do this film thing. So it wasn't that good, to be honest.
What, can you be more specific? A film thing?
Well, for one of the... It's called an F&P Final Major Project. We had to film, like, a drama. I was had to edit it and everything together, so we had to develop paperwork for that, and all the evaluations for it.
So you filmed a drama?
Yeah.
About what?
About somebody killing their girlfriend, and the girlfriend coming back and haunting them.
Wow. It's pretty heavy. Is there anything you'd like to tell us? Somebody killing their girlfriend and then... Right. That's not a very happy story.
It had to be kind of a horror
right.
kind of genre, because I did research into genre and all that boring stuff.
Anything with the word genre in is run like the wind.
I don't even want to do film.
Well, what do you want to do? You want to do radio?
Yeah.
Please see the spiel I gave some moments ago. Don't do it.
Well, you say that to me all the time, but...
and it's not going to make the slightest bit of difference.
You know that.
Oh, well. The best of luck, Louise. You're going to need it.
Thanks.
Ta-da. Oh, hey, do you want to play the game?
Oh, I'll lose, but go on.
It's the last one that I like. He's like the missing link, isn't he?
Yeah. Is it George Bush?
George Bush. This one, I can't believe that people aren't getting this. To me, this is so easy. One of the most famous people in the whole wide world. It's the, it's the, that's the part that gives it away. Who dat?
I don't know.
Oh, go on, have a wild stab in the dark.
He's not American, but the guy that I was thinking about when I heard it.
Who?
I was thinking Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise is the right answer.
Really?
Now you know it. It's easy, right? That kind of like nasally. She's on a roll. Who's this?
I haven't a clue.
Oh, come on.
Well, it's probably really obvious as well.
It is, yeah. I mean, which country does he sound like he comes from?
Is he a footballer?
Is he a footballer? No.
No.
He's not. He doesn't sound friendly, does he? He's like he's orally punching you.
I'll just do a random guess, so then you can just like cut me off. Stephen Gerrard.
Stephen Gerrard! No, but thanks for playing.
See ya.
Ta-da, Louise. Another unsatisfied customer.
Ian Lee on lunch.
Smacking in a minute. Do you approve of smacking?
Not really.
Is that a yes?
Well, the trouble is I feel a bit stuck on it because I was smacked and it hasn't really hurt me. But I would try not to smack my children.
Right.
I wouldn't.
So it's a yes then?
Well, no, I don't really approve of it. I think there are lots of clever ways now that you can.
The naughty step?
Well, well, there is the naughty step.
I wonder what her qualifications are, by the way. I mean, has anybody looked into her qualifications? Who is she?
Super Nanny.
Yeah.
Well, it's not just Super Nanny, because there's also the House of Tiny Tearaways.
What's that?
That's a different one where there's a doctor who teaches people how to, look after their kids. And the parents move in with the children, and she keeps an eye on them and says, "Oh, don't do it like that."
The parents move in with the children?
Into this House of Tiny Tearaways.
Oh, right.
Where they're, watched and see how their parenting skills are.
Yeah, it mostly is the parents' fault, isn't it? I mean, kids are kids, and they've always been like that. It's just that the parents they don't know how to parent anymore.
Yeah.
We've got no idea, because we're too busy tiptoeing around them, worried that we'll invade their human rights.
And then they'll throw a rugby in your face. Rugby ball.
Yeah. Parents must be banned from inflicting even the mildest of smacks on their children because it breaches human rights legislation, says a report today. Under current law, mild smacking is allowed, but parents who hit children hard enough to leave a mark can be jailed for up to 5 years. A reasonable chastisement defence is still available to parents, but they can be charged with common assault if a smack causes bruises, grazes, scratches, or minor swellings or cuts. A report by the Anti-Smacking Children Are Unbeatable! Alliance. You get what they did there? A group of 350 organisations working with children says that the parental defence of reasonable chastisement should be abolished. By failing to give children the same protection as adults, British law breached obligations under the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, the European Social Charter, and other human rights treaties, it says. Our human rights obligations to respect the physical integrity and human dignity of children are clear. To fulfil these obligations properly, children must be given the protection of the law against the assault which adults take for granted in a civilised society. Lord St John of Falsley, the Conservative peer, added, "Affording children equal protection under the law on assault seems to me a very modest yet essential step in the right direction." But Norman Wells, Director of Family Youth Concern, said many parents use occasional physical correction as a positive disciplinary tool in the context of a warm, caring relationship in which the child is valued and cherished. Correct. I mean, I don't get it. Because they're saying that you have to treat... slapping adults in public is not acceptable. But then adults don't fall to the floor, kicking and screaming and foaming at the mouth, wailing and crying in the middle of a supermarket just because you won't buy them a chocolate bunny. Do they?
Lucy does.
Oh.
I've seen her.
So there has to be some sort of way to correct them. You know, like the barman in The Shining. They must be corrected. So, and let me ask you this. Has the behaviour of school children got better or worse since they abolished the cane?
Worse.
Why? Because they know they can do anything they like and get away with it.
There's no fear.
Exactly. There's no comeback. There's no, people won't take, they act in a world of no consequences. That's the, point that I was desperately trying to get out. No consequences. There are none. If you bite a teacher's face off, the headmaster will ask you politely not to do it again. They'll send you from school for a day because they can't expel you anymore because it would be abusing your rights to acquire knowledge, and they'll let you back the next day. It's just insane, isn't it? People must be more smacking. Let's start a campaign now.
I'm sure that'll be really popular.
Yes. Here's Dulwich. Hello, Andrew.
Hello, mate. You can slap that idea of smacking right in the papers. There you go. Bad pun.
We'll start as soon as the Sun gets off the you-know-what, then we'll start a campaign on just that, more smacking.
It's all about balance, isn't it? I mean, the thing is, we've got nerves, we've got emotions, and they're all there to be stimulated at some stage, and not to let a child know they've done wrong with a short shock. It doesn't have to be hard. It's just the fact that you've been smacked, and it's like, oh, I won't do that again.
Yeah,
that's the important thing, and you have to have the rough with the smooth. If you have rough and you have smooth extremes, then you know where the centre is. If you don't, then you're going to be one-sided.
Because, I mean, if a child is screaming and screaming and screaming and it's got snot coming out of his nose and it's like his eyes are clouded over because of the tears and it just won't stop screaming, then you can't ask it politely not to, otherwise you might fine it. That's not going to work.
No. And the other thing is, as you was doing your talk up to now, I was thinking to myself, well, where else can I justify what I'm saying? And if you look at apes, animals, those kingdoms, etc., there's a small slap there. If the cub or the monkey does something it shouldn't do, and its mother will say, "Oi, wallop," and it's natural, isn't it? I blame Germaine Greer.
Oh, yeah, it's her fault. Mm-hmm.
1972, when a book, or 75, when a book came out about feminism and to change down on its knees, if that's what it takes to bring feminism issues into the fore and correct things. And I got to say, PC, politically correctness, all stem from feminism, left wing, and that kind of thing back there.
Huh, it's Germaine's fault. I had no idea.
It's Germaine. Well, it's not her directly, but it's her...
No, I think we should pin it on Germaine, definitely.
Well, it's her book that was swiftly imported to Britain in the early 70s, after the women in Britain who fought so hard to maintain Britain whilst the troops were in Germany. Once the land of Britain was like more easy to get on with and back up, society is back up again, then women had time. That's it. That's get things on our side. And
I kind of got lost in the middle of that. You sort of lost me in the middle of there.
Have you? Why? Sorry.
Yeah, I didn't. I was sort of with you for a while there, and then I sort of thought, gosh, there's a lot of words here, but they're not actually making any sense anymore.
Well, what it is it's postmodernism.
Postmodernism. Okay, let's try to get this one point at a time. Let's try and work our way through the fog of whatever it is you're trying to say.
Right. Okay. Well, after modernisation happened, and
what do you mean by that?
Okay, modernisation is when railways were invented in Britain.
The Industrial Revolution.
Yeah, right. Yeah, absolutely. Petrol started to be, oils started to be used. You got technology that came in, like computers, which completely changed how we are today. You had the beatniks as well in the 50s, which are pre-hippies, and they were being open about experimenting with homosexuality. Different ways
beatniks?
Yeah.
Really?
They were students in America.
Yeah, I know the beatniks were.
And music and theatre and
on the road and all that sort of stuff.
Absolutely, yeah.
Huh. I thought they were more experimenting with drugs, but okay.
Yeah, drugs was part of it, but they actually got a lot of those things into the light, if you like, in America. And so from then, the hippies then came in and a different type of music.
This is like a history of, oh, hey, you know what? We're going to have to go and come back. You're still there, Andrew?
I certainly am.
Now, I'm not sure that I should actually do this, but I'm keen to get to the bottom of what it is you're trying to say, because so far we've had a history of the 20th century. It's almost like a Sharma program, this. So we've had the Industrial Revolution, which went on to the refinement of the petrochemical industry, and then the homosexual beatniks.
Yeah.
Nobody knew about that previously. You're opening our eyes. And then the hippies, and what comes next?
What comes next? Okay, well, what I'm trying to say is at after the war, what happened was the BBC was...
Oh, it's their fault.
Yes. Well, hold on. My whole issue when I was phoning up is to continue what you were saying about the BBC and the presenters not being able to do what they want to do today, and the IBA and all authorities now are saying you can't do this, you can't do that, and you have to read from a script. So that's actually where I'm aiming into. When you mention Kenny Everett and Jimmy Savile, etc., that is a really, really important key area that you touched on, and that we're suffering today, if you like. That's where I'm coming from.
But is that where you're going to?
That's where I'm going.
So we finally got there.
We finally got there.
Andrew, thanks very much.
It's a dyslexia.
Yeah, okay. Hey, do you want to play the game? Oh, I'll take that as a no. Maybe he didn't think I was talking to him. He didn't think that his luck could possibly be that good. Hey, Claire.
Hi, good evening. I've just finished my Sabbath.
You just finished your what, sorry?
Our Sabbath has just finished, our Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a long day now, so I'm just listening to your conversation about...
You've just finished your Sabbath?
Yes, our Sabbath finishes at 20 to 11, because the day is so long. Why you sound surprised?
It finishes at 20 to 11.
Yes, and it goes... Anyway, that's beside the point.
Yes.
What I'm trying to make, the point I'm trying to make is that you walk in the street, you see all these people half naked, all these ladies and television, the bad language, and there's no respect or anything. Whose fault is that?
Jermaine Greer's.
Well, she has a lot to say, but there's who else for? I mean, you're not allowed to smack your child today because you get told off if you
Well, you get put in prison for 5 years.
That's not long enough.
It's not long enough, did you say?
No, really, seriously. I mean, do you think you're not allowed to tell your child off in school?
But people are walking around naked. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, a lot of ladies, you see them in the street, it's almost embarrassing. Half naked, let's put it that way. It's embarrassing.
Well, the naked part is in the middle, right? Is that what you mean? Like they're wearing... No, I've gone on about this before.
In the top. I mean, you put television on, you see how those ladies get dressed there.
They wear crop tops which end above their belly button, and low-slung jeans which end well below their belly button. And in the middle, like I've said many times before, there's this explosion of white puffy flesh that bursts out. It looks vile. Awful. I mean, it's just staggering that they can go out like that. Is amazing. And when they sit down...
It's embarrassing. It's really embarrassing.
The papers have arrived.
Oh, what did they say?
Oh, I'll have to get into that in a minute.
What does the Daily Mail say? Because I read the Daily Mail.
I bet you do. Hang on a minute. I'll find out. You are disgusted of Temple Fortune.
I am not disgusted with Temple Fortune. It's a lovely area.
No. You're not disgusted with it. You're disgusted from it.
Yes.
Obscene is the massive word on the front page of the Daily Mail, the Sunday Mail today.
Obscene what?
In a calculated ambush, Jonathan Ross makes a lewd and grossly offensive suggestion about Lady Thatcher to David Cameron. Why did BBC choose to broadcast it?
I think Lady Thatcher was wonderful, was fantastic.
I know. Well, yeah, that would have been my bet.
I mean, this Blair is rubbish. all the things that he's done, he can't make up his mind. Now he's going to do something else to do with all these people, all the crime. That's the latest thing, isn't it? Does it say that in the paper?
The BBC sparked a major political row last night after Jonathan Ross was accused of making disgusting remarks about Lady Thatcher in an interview with Conservative leader David Cameron.
Is he going to get the sack now?
Hardly. Senior Tories called for the presenter, who recently signed a... £18 million for a 3-year deal. Asked for him to be sacked after he made a series of obscene comments when Mr Cameron appeared on Friday night with Jonathan Ross.
What does he do for £18 million?
Ross asked Mr Cameron if he had schoolboy sexual fantasies about the former Prime Minister in stockings when he was a teenager.
A stupid question.
When Mr Cameron tried to change the subject, Ross persisted with the same line of questioning, referring to a lewd act. He asked him, "Did you or did you not have a ... thinking Margaret Thatcher?" The BBC did not bleep out the word, even though the continued on page 5.
My goodness, read the paper.
Even though the interview was recorded the previous day, and Ross's repeated use of the F word and an even more obscene word were bleeped out. Huh.
Is he going to get the sack?
Doubtful. Furthermore, the corporation made a deliberate decision to broadcast it. The interview was cut from nearly 40 minutes down to 10.
Serves him right.
Oh, I don't believe it. Really? They cut an interview from 40 minutes down to 10 in order to make Jonathan Ross look better.
Tell me, what is he going to do? What does he do if he gets £18 million?
That's an excellent question, Claire. What does Jonathan Ross do to be worth £18 million of public money? Here's what he does. He does a chat show that hardly anybody watches.
Yes.
It's where he's trying to be David Letterman, where many people have tried in this country to be David Letterman, and every single one of them have failed miserably, because the thing about David Letterman is he's sharp and he's funny. Like, he is actually, I mean, and on top of that, he has about a team of, I don't know, 20 people writing jokes for him. In this country, they usually come in with their mate and have him write jokes for them, and it's like when Jonathan Ross comes out and does his stand-up spiel at the beginning of the show, it's received with complete silence by the studio audience.
Latimer?
Huh?
Who is David Latimer?
David Letterman.
Who is he?
He's an American talk show host who every talk show host in this country wants to be.
Rubbish. What do you want to be when you finish this program tonight?
Asleep.
Nice talking to you.
Thanks, Claire.
Thank you for listening to
Ta-da.
me. Bye.
What a nice lady. So he does this chat show that no one listens to, or no one watches, rather, that he tries to be David Letterman and fails. And then he does film, whatever the year is, 2006, where he tries to be Barry Norman and fails. And he does one show on Radio 2 a week where he probably has 50 people working on that show. I exaggerate for comic effect. There's probably a dozen. I would reckon there'd probably be a dozen people working on that show. If he show up for 3 hours, he'll have a producer, 2 lackeys to go run around buy him coffee. He'll have script writers, researchers. It just is never ending. I mean, the people that work on BBC shows, especially a show that's as big and high profile as that, there just must be clouds of people like midges in Scotland revolving around his head. So he virtually has to do nothing at all, like Terry Wogan. Terry Wogan shows up probably 10 seconds before he goes on the air, reads out letters that other people have sent him, and that's it. That'll be £800,000 a year, please. And so he does those 2 things, and that's apparently worth £18 million of our money. Does anybody think that that's value for money?
No.
I didn't think so. But they give it to him because it's an ego thing. It pleases them because, if you can hire someone who's got a big name, it makes you seem a big player. And so they do it. And there's nothing we can do about it. He's got our money, and he's going to keep it. Hey, did you hear about the guy who plays for Ecuador that gives... I'll talk about the footballers' wives in a minute. We'll get into the papers after midnight, because it doesn't seem fair to read tomorrow's papers today. We have to read tomorrow's papers tomorrow, when it will be today. Does that make sense? I'll take a couple of these calls, and we'll talk about footballers' wives. I still haven't talked about Saddam Hussein's hunger strike. There's all sorts of stuff. Let's go with Harlow. Harlow, Keith.
Hello. Yes, it's me.
What's up?
For God's sake, are you so jealous of Jonathan Ross?
What, are you? Of course.
No, but I'm not the one going on about him, am I?
What? Am I jealous of somebody who earns 18 million quid? Yeah, of course I am. Everyone is.
Oh, no.
Right, okay, sure.
You just got a chip in your shoulder, mate. What was
I don't get it. I don't see how that's worth 18 million pounds. I just don't. He does a talk show that's not that great, and he does film 2006 that's not that great. That's not worth 18 million quid, it isn't.
Well, it may not be, but he's not stuck in a midnight show doing nothing, is he?
What's that got to do with it?
What was your first guess on about Jermaine?
What's So, because I'm stuck on a midnight show doing nothing, then I can't talk about anybody else.
Well, you can talk about it if you like. But...
Okay, well, I'll do just that. So anyway, the footballers' wives thing, on and on and on. The coverage has just been intense. There's more coverage of footballers' wives than what they've been getting up to than the actual footballers. as Colleen McLaughlin, Wayne Rooney's girlfriend, partied until the early hours yesterday. Maria de la Cruz, the wife of Ecuador's highest-paid footballer, was tucked in bed at 10 p.m. Here's my question. Are the footballers' wives staying in the same hotel that the footballers are staying in? Alex will know.
Just hang on and put your radio in the back.
Because there can't be that many five-star hotels around that area. So unless you know better, then we'll assume that they are. David Beckham and his fellow English multimillionaires have lavished tens of thousands of pounds, bringing over a whole coterie of big-spending, high-living wives, partners and assorted hangers-on to Germany for the World Cup. Have you noticed how they all look exactly the same? All those footballers' wives, they all look exactly the same. Weird, like they've all been stamped out the same mould.
I think Victoria looks a bit different.
Well, thinner.
Yeah, and a bit more done up.
And richer. She just looks richer.
Do you think?
Yeah, I think the others look like they've come into a bit of money, but Victoria Beckham looks like, I don't know, like one of those like film star types that's been teased.
She looks
with
very fragile, though, doesn't she?
Yeah, she does. Look like she might break. Yeah. But Ecuador, England's opponents tomorrow, have only one star, Ulises de la Cruz, and his wife is no posh. Not for her the marathon shopping trips or raucous nights out. Not for her the pampering or the bling. She spends all her time with her 20-month-old daughter Samantha strolling around the grounds of her team's modest hotel. Yesterday, 19 of the 22 wives and girlfriends of the England team were reported to have spent 10 grand on fake tans. We're recovering after partying until 4 a.m. And here's my question. If they're staying in the same hotel, and if they're not, then let me know. But if they are, then I have a problem with this. Because if they're coming back at 4 a.m. from a massive night out, then surely they're making Are they staying in the same rooms?
Maybe they can't be, because...
Well, that wouldn't make sense, would it? Like, you're bowling in at 4 a.m, and Wayne's like, nice, Wayne.
Morning.
He's got to get up in, like, 30 minutes' time to eat his porridge and do his training.
Maybe she just tiptoes in.
Yeah. The women racked up a bill of £3,000 for lobster steak and champagne before returning to the town to finish the night off. The bill was charged to their hotel for the players to pay, which implies that they are staying at the same hotel. At a bar called Garibaldi's, they sang along with England fans and downed bottles of champagne with strawberry syrup, glasses of vodka and Red Bull and shots of Sambuca. Among those celebrating were Ellen Reeves, Frank Lampard's fiancée, Michael Carrick's girlfriend, Stuart Downing's girlfriend, all of which look exactly the same. But not for Ecuador's posh, no. Ulises de la Cruz is the Ecuadorian equivalent of David Beckham. But when he goes on a spending spree, he does not go for designer clothes or sports cars. He get this, Ecuador's big star, he doesn't buy Aston Martins and he doesn't buy £10 million houses in Chelsea. What he spends his money on is installing running water in his hometown. The Aston Villa defender, who will mark Wayne Rooney tomorrow, gives 20% of his modest, in Premiership terms, income to charity. In 5 years, the farmer's son has installed running water and electricity and built a school and a hospital in the village of, place I can't pronounce, where he grew up. All right, Ulises de la Cruz, and where our lot are busy buying up 10 grand handbags and, whatever the champagne that rap stars sing about this week is. It's Cristal, isn't it? Mr. Cristal's very upset about it. Did you read about that?
No.
He doesn't like... Yeah, they're all going about Cristal. Yo, yo, yo. Well, it's Sean Puffy Cohen.
Yes, yeah.
No. Yo, 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 yo.
I mean the Cristal bit.
And so Mr. Cristal's very upset about it. As you would be. I mean, you spend, 200 years trying to polish your brand into something respectable, and then a lot of guys who are pretending to be drug dealers and gangsters come along and take it as their own. Well, I'd be upset, wouldn't you? Because once you lose the cachet of your brand, then it's gone forever. They spent 200 years of building it up, and then someone called Puffy comes along and just blows it out of the water. And then he said, "Oh, well, that's racist." And, oh, you're right. No, he's just upset that you've hijacked his brand. Anyway, let's go with I don't want calls all night about Jonathan Ross. Hey, Ronnie.
Hi, it's the first time I'm talking to you, really, so I might be a bit too fast for you.
Not so far.
Okay, I'm trying to take it a bit cool. The Ross's family. See, can I not call them the Ross's family, because it really irritates me. I like to call them the Chavtastic family. London's biggest Chavtastic family goes to the Ross's family. And the only reason why is I ain't got a personal vendetta against them. But if you look on his chat show, his mum appears on it. His wife appears on it. I mean, why would you want to bring your mum and your wife to your show every now and then?
Well, David Letterman has his mum on the show, and I don't think he brings his wife. He's not married, so it's chat shows over here. The David Letterman show is still on. I think it's ITV2 at midnight. Watch it once, and you'll see every chat show that's ever been tried in this country, with the exception of Michael Parkinson, because he just is actually just talking to people. All of those sort of entertainment chat shows, it's all David Letterman. That's all it is.
Yeah, but why would you want... Yeah, the thing is, the guy just irritates me. I can't watch BBC One on Fridays because he's like on BBC One until what? Until 11:30. From 11:45, he's back on BBC Two. I mean, he's just equivalent...
doing what?
He's doing that repeat of, what's that, film review or something, some rubbish review.
Film 2006, or whatever they call it, right.
Where, yeah, exactly. And I'm thinking, why are BBC getting so desperate that they only can afford Jonathan Ross? I wouldn't even call him a presenter, really.
Well, that's it. Yes, that's exactly what he is. He's a presenter. But they it's not that they can't they can only afford him. They can afford anybody they like because we're paying them. They've got a guaranteed income. It's the commercial channels that can't just throw their money around because they have to pay their keep.
I wouldn't pay 20p for Jonathan Ross.
20p, all right.
That way.
How about 10? Can we agree on 10?
10. How about 9?
Go on, Ronnie.
How about 9?
9 it is. A deal. We'll shake on it.
Okay, if you like to. Can I just make a quick final point?
Oh, go on then. Footballers'
wives. Okay. Can I just say, the reason why the footballer's wife can afford to spend the money is the reason why, is apparently when they stay in the hotel, everything gets all logged on to their husbands or whoever their partners are. It goes on to the accounts, and the FA pays for everything.
The FA does not pay for everything, surely,
yes.
Do they?
55%,
no.
Yes, 55%.
How do you know? You're making it up.
No, when it comes to the World Cup, they have to. If you go onto the FA website and you type in a question or anything, ask Jeeves, he will tell you the exact same. Because I found out myself on Friday.
Okay, thanks for the news, Ronnie.
55%.
All right, 55%. We'll agree on that.
7p for Jonathan Ross now, okay?
7?
His name.
Oh,
yeah.
okay then.
Okay.
Gotta
Thank
go.
you very much. Good night.
Ta-ta. Was he too quick for us? No. So, did you know that Saddam Hussein has been on hunger strike? This is really upsetting. Poor Saddam, eh? Have we got ads? Oh, am I past the ads?
You've gone past the ads.
Way past the ads. Right, I'll just do this into the ads. Saddam Hussein ended a hunger strike. Did you hear about this? Loose? Guess how long he was on hunger strike for? That's right. Lunch.
Oh, no.
Lunch.
Really?
Yeah. Saddam Hussein ended a hunger strike after missing just one meal, a US military spokesman said yesterday. After announcing on Wednesday that he would refuse meals in protest at the murder of one of his legal team, Saddam missed only lunch on Thursday before enjoying an evening meal in his American-administered jail in Baghdad. Saddam's lead counsel, Khalil was... anyway, he's dead.
Does it say what he had for dinner? Did he top up for dinner?
I've got no idea. But I'm going on hunger strike until we come back.
Isn't it unbelievable?
Let's go with Stansted. Marley.
Yes.
Hello, Marley.
I know you don't want to talk about Jonathan Ross. You just said so. But I saw him last night, and I was absolutely disgusted with the way he spoke to David Cameron. You know, a statesman, a man who's... I thought is very intelligent, and Jonathan Ross was so ignorant, so disgusting, and so pushy, and he put his hand up, talk to my hand. It was so embarrassing.
He put his hand up, talk to my hand?
Well, you know, when David David said something, and then the audience laughed at something. Oh dear, I'm getting all mixed up.
That's all right. Take a deep breath.
Because I'm so.
I know you are. You're very angry.
I'm really, really angry.
Okay,
that
Marley,
he
take a deep
employed-
breath. Take a deep breath.
Well,
Now push your shoulders down. Calm.
Jonathan Ross
Yes.
put his hand up in order to say to David Cameron, "Don't speak because the audience is laughing at what I said."
Really?
He was well. Yeah, I mean, I really think that everyone must have been so disgusted, as I was. I cringed. I've cringed quite a lot recently with Jonathan Ross because he's getting on my nerves.
Well,
And
you
he's
pay
so-
someone 18 million quid.
I know,
and
I
then
know, it makes me so angry.
They're going to...
What?
They're going to have it in their head that they're invincible and they can do anything, which
I
is
know.
true. He can do anything he likes
I know, but
now.
he bloody well can't, because I think he what do they say? He blotted his copybook last night.
You don't seem to be the kind of person who would listen or watch to Jonathan Ross.
Why?
Well, I don't know. You don't... I
do like some rubbish on on television. I do sometimes turn into Big Brother, you know, after a few weeks, because I mean they are such freaks that it's quite entertaining.
I've been entertained and I'm continually entertained by Big Brother, much to my amazement. This is the first time I've ever watched it,
It's wonderful,
and I can't stop watching it now.
It's such trash, but no, I can't. Oh dear, I am really going to have a heart attack if I watch Jonathan Ross again.
Don't then.
I won't, because
Please
the Friday
don't.
night project on ITV is a lot more fun. You know, there's this wonderful man with all that hair that's got that wonderful sort of country voice, where he's doing a few voiceovers on the radio, which is hilarious. It's about an ingrowing toenail. Are you following me?
No, that's another thing I don't watch either, I'm
What?
afraid.
You don't?
But I have been watching Big Brother, and what I'm amazed...
No, but I do listen to radio an awful lot, and I do love LBC, and I have listened to LBC for donkey's years.
But Marley...
And I'm up late tonight. I normally don't ring in. I mean, I do listen to Clive, but
But Marley...
Yes? What? I'm going on, aren't I?
A little.
I'm having one.
But the thing that I can't actually believe is that no one's calling about Big Brother. 8 million people watch this programme almost daily.
Yeah.
And you're the first person, we're 2 hours in, to have even called about it. Because I thought that this would be the forum where people would be calling their face off about that programme. But
no, because head of the list is Jonathan Ross at the moment, the absolute bastard. How dare he? How dare he talk?
You're not calm yet, Marley.
I'm not calm.
I
No,
can
I'm
tell.
not. And how dare he speak to someone like that? In fact, he made himself look a complete idiot with a previous person who is that lovely, a fantastic tennis player, Martina Navratilova. And then he threw himself on his desk and started to tell her how he exercised, and he looked a complete bloody twit. He really did.
Marley,
I think he last night. I think he did it. I think he did it because I was so incensed.
Oh, Marley.
What?
You're still incensed.
I
You
am.
need to calm
Oh,
down.
I can't.
Go into a calm corner, put on some Brian Eno. Do you have any Brian Eno?
What's that?
It's really calming music.
What is it?
Or just concentrate on your breathing. Will you do that for me? But put the phone down, because otherwise I think you're going to have a heart attack. Thanks a lot.
Have you taken in all I've said?
Every word.
Thank you.
You're giving me a heart attack. Thanks a lot. Ta-ta. What a nice lady. Angry, but nice.
Hi, now, laugh.
Oh, blimey, I'm not quite ready. I'm leafing through this gigantic pile of papers. What are those people want to talk about? Suddenly the phones have gone insane. Let's go with Cheem. Cheem! Marco.
Hello.
What's up?
Hello, Nick. Just ringing up about the guy that you spoke to before about the Indian players.
Oh, yeah.
about the FA paying for everything.
Yes.
The FA do not pay.
No, I wouldn't think so, no.
The FA pay for the travel of the players,
Yeah.
and they pay for the board of the players.
Right.
But apart from that, the players pay for everything else.
Right, particularly their wives' lunches.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is all comes from their own pocket. Also, the England players actually get a fee for playing for England.
Yes. How much is it?
Well, I do know how much it is, but the thing is, all that money is donated to charities. They do not take a penny for themselves.
Well, at least they're doing something. Nothing on the pitch, but financially, they're really getting it done.
I just wanted to say that the FA do not pay for everything. We don't pay for everything as a country. They pay for it out of their earnings, and the earnings that they do get for playing for England, they do donate to charity. They do not keep that money.
Thanks for sorting that out for us, Marco. We'll be back with the papers after the new news.
On FM.
On DAB.
Abbott.
All right, now, Lucy, I'm going to give you a headline.
Yes?
From one of the papers, and you have to tell me which paper it's from, right?
Okay, but I might see it.
Well, don't look.
Okay.
Prozac for paedophiles. Jailed sex offenders to get antidepressants.
Mail on Sunday.
Nope.
The Sun?
Not printed on Sundays.
Oh, sorry, News of the World.
News of the World is the wrong answer.
Oh.
The Independent.
Oh, really? Oh, sorry. Maybe
That's a bit unusual, isn't it?
Yeah, it sounded quite Daily Mail. Didn't it?
I know, totally. Huh. So the inside, they're all going with the same thing these days, aren't they? It's what sells papers, innit, now that Di's dead. Bob Geldof is called in by Blair to police the G8 poverty deal. Bob Geldof. Oh, no. OK, I can't bear that anymore. Sunday Telegraph. Blair prison pledge is exposed as total sham. They're not a big fan, are they, the Telegraph? It's all gloom and doom. Cadbury waited 4 months to act over salmonella. Is Cadbury's chocolate actually chocolate? Do you remember there was this thing in France or Germany, places that actually make nice chocolate?
You mean with the more than 70% cocoa?
No, I don't think it's 70. I think it has to be over 50.
Over 50, yeah.
Because if you buy really nice chocolate, then it doesn't taste remotely similar to that stuff that they produce. I mean, it's not... They wanted to call it chocolate-like product or something like that, didn't they? Go on, nip down to the shop and get some chocolate-like product.
I always find American chocolate tastes a bit funny.
Oh, worse. The only country that produces worse chocolate than us is America, yeah. Hershey bars.
Yes, I was given some of those Hershey chocolates, but I was quite surprised at the taste of them.
Hideous.
Is it because there's preservative in it or something to stop it melting?
Stop it melting?
That's what I thought was part of it, so it didn't melt as quickly as our chocolate does.
They're just, because chocolate itself is very expensive, they just pad it out with a lot of rubbish so they don't have to put any chocolate in it.
Yuck.
I know, awful.
What about the Cadbury's one, though? Because that's 5 months old, isn't it?
Cadbury's failed to inform food watchdogs about salmonella contamination at one of its factories. And they said something like, oh, don't worry.
Yeah.
Oh, righto.
But if it was 5 months ago, hasn't everyone eaten it all by now, anyway?
I think that's probably true, yeah. The company was accused of a cover-up, blah, blah, blah. 30 million to watch England take on Ecuador in 35 centigrade heat. We're doomed. It's going to be boiling hot tomorrow, and Ecuador is a place that's boiling hot.
Score prediction?
Oh, 1-0 against us.
Oh.
I don't think we're going to get through. We've just been playing so badly. I just think... And even if we do, we're not going to get past the quarterfinals. I mean, you see Spain and Argentina, and it's just not going to happen, is it?
Isn't it good to be a bit more glass half full, though?
It depends what the glass is full of.
Well...
The Observer. Single-sex schools, no benefit for girls. Now, this is not correct, is it?
Well, and certainly not after having gone to a single-sex school.
Distraction by boys, a myth, says study. Social class key to child achievement. Teaching girls in single-sex schools, long an obsession of many parents worried about their daughters being distracted by boys, makes no difference to their educational attainment, according to one of the most comprehensive studies of the way children learn. I don't believe it. Do you?
No.
Did you watch that programme where they send kids back to the 50s?
Yes.
Isn't it great?
Yeah,
Don't
they
you
can't
just-
pass any of the exams.
I know, absolute rubbish. And they say that the exams these days aren't easier than they used to be. In fact, some colleges want an extra hard A-level, because they say that you used to get an F in A-level maths, and an F then will get you a C now. So basically, it is getting simple for the very reason that the government can stand up and say, look at the munificent leadership that has caused all of the children under our care to be extra super double intelligent, much more so than they used to be. But what came out starkly in that programme was that, and even the kids were saying this themselves, because they were split up and taught in single-sex classes, and you'd think that they would hate it. And initially they did. But by the end of the programme they were saying, you know what, it is better, because we can concentrate more.
Yeah.
Now we're not all trying to get off with each other. Or trying to impress each other.
That was like you could have been back at school then. When we all get off with each other.
Yeah. All right, let's go through the reputable papers, and then we'll get into the super soraways in a minute. The Sunday Times will be one shocking mismanagement story after the next. Police tracking bug found in 7/7 mastermind's car. An electronic tracking device of the type used by police to monitor suspected terrorists was recovered from a car belonging to the leader of the suicide bombers in the days following July the 7th, a senior security official has claimed. This just gets worse. British intelligence, eh? Number 10 orders shock U-turn on pensions. Downing Street is to renege on a pensions deal with civil servants, risking a wave of strike action. And then it's all bad. Inside, I'll just go 2 pages deep just to see if there are any shocking revelations. One moment, please. Why can't newspapers... doesn't the Daily Mail print in ink that doesn't come off?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, why can't they all do that?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe it's more expensive.
Well, it can't be that much more expensive. I mean, how much is the Daily Mail? I've never bought it.
I don't know. You've got the Sunday Mail there.
Well, I guess, yeah. I'll look at it in a moment. No. NHS bonanza fails to raise patient care. The government's reform of the NHS has delivered poor value for money. Well, I think we knew that already. What else? I'll go through the proper ones, and then we'll... Oh, here's this... OK, the Daily Mail on Sunday is £1.30, which is about... It's about right? But if they can print in with ink that doesn't come off in your hands, then why can't everybody else? Obscene is their front page, their Jonathan Ross story. And then it'll be... The full text of Jonathan Ross's shocking outburst. Oh, I can't read that because I'll get fined off the air. Anyway, the Mail is going on doing this general mail thing. The Sunday Express, last one for this moment. Anger as our boys go unpaid. Heroes of Iraq left high and dry by computer shambles. Oh, good grief. And they wonder why they've got problems recruiting people for the army.
They're advertising for that a lot at the moment.
What, on our station?
Army. No, not on our station, on the TV.
Because the army blamed some silly TV programme, didn't they? They blamed, what was it? Where they, I don't know, some reality TV programme where they, I can't remember what it was they blamed. They said that nobody's coming to join the army anymore because we're being portrayed as dopes on a silly television programme.
It's probably a reality TV show,
one of those.
I'd imagine.
And that's not why people are not joining the army at all. It's because they're being sent... Because they're not being paid for a start, front page of the Express, and they're being sent into war with boots that melt in the sand. That actually happened.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they gave them boots that melt in the heat.
Great.
They gave them rifles that jam in sandy conditions and sent them to a country full of sand.
Fantastic.
They gave them communications devices that don't work, and so they were calling each other on their mobiles. And they put them in vehicles that weren't armoured, so that bullets went straight through them. Tony Blair's got an armoured car. That's why they're having trouble getting people to join up for the army.
And hasn't he got his new plane as well now? So he's
him and the Queen.
Yeah. It's good, isn't it?
Well, it's good for them.
Yeah.
Of course, he won't be using it. That was the justification, because by the time it comes in, Tony Blair's going to be out. And so it'll be Gordon's plane.
Oh. Does he need a plane? I mean...
Yeah, for the giant chip on his shoulder. Yeah, it is a big plane, yeah. Here's Reigate. Hello, Alan.
Hello, hello, Nick. How are you?
I'm all right, thanks.
Yeah, it was just really when you were mentioning the fact that nobody phoned in about Big Brother, I just said to Lucy that I thought you should be proud of that fact.
Well,
there may be 8 million people watch Big Brother, but I should think very few of them, if any, really listen to a radio programme that's for your brain rather than just for nonsense.
Well, you know what? I would have agreed with you until a couple of months ago when I started watching, or no, a month ago now, when I started watching Big Brother for the first time ever. I'd always thought, what rubbish. How on earth could anybody waste their time watching this trash? But when you start watching it, it actually becomes fascinating, because what you're watching is a social experiment.
But isn't a lot of it to do with the lowest common denominator in that social experiment?
How do you mean?
In the sense that everybody's trying to take advantage of everybody else, and doesn't that necessarily...
Yes, but that's life.
Well, I think that's probably life at a certain level, or probably life at the tabloid level, but it's not necessarily life at some of the other levels.
No, you know what? That's life at every level. Everyone's trying to get ahead. Everyone's trying to form relationships with people and get some people on side and stab others in the back, and everyone's bitching about everybody else behind their backs. And the fascinating thing with this programme is that for the first time ever, you can see them doing it, rather than just thinking that people are talking about everybody else behind their backs.
I agree entirely. Having been in business for the last sort of 30-odd years, especially in the banking and finance world, that is what goes on, where people try and pull the wool over people's eyes in order to get money, and those things do happen. But that doesn't necessarily mean to say that you have to live by that code as an individual. There's a lot of people who don't, and that's why you don't get a lot of people phoning your programme about Big Brother, because most of them are of that category, I would say, that listen to LBC, of the better category.
Well, I would like to believe that, Alan, but I think that everyone is like that.
Well,
I think that's the human condition.
No, I have to disagree.
And it's not a bad thing. It's just how we get along. I mean, relationships are formed and broken, and and that's just what happens. And so I think that I think it is fascinating, and I am continually fascinated by it, such that I'm amazing myself every day now. I have to watch that 1 hour. I'm almost embarrassed to say it. I have to. Well, no, why should I be? 8 other million people in this country are watching it as well. What's the 1 hour catch-up?
But very few of them phone LBC.
Well, the one thing I haven't done yet is call the line to evict someone. But when I do that, then I know I've got a problem.
Then you know you've really taken part.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, thanks a lot, Alan.
You're welcome.
Ta-da.
Bye.
This is LBC 97.3. I'm Nick Abbott. We'll go through we've got the Star and the Snooze of the World and the Peephole. And the Sunday Mirror. What's the Peephole got? Okay. We'll come back with that in a minute.
First, he did a rap.
All right, the rabid tabloids, the News of the World. I don't know, it's just the News of the World is getting a bit depressing. I mean, I know they're on a campaign at the moment, but there's just only so much that you can read about that before wanting to put the paper in the bin, you know what I mean? And like, the first 20 pages are all about that, and I just can't bear it anymore. I mean, it's not fun. I thought the News of the World was supposed to be fun, right? It's supposed to be about sex. So you have to go 22 pages in to get the first story about sex, and it's about, guess who? Nikki from Big Brother. Nikki ran my battery flat in our X-rated phone video. Sex-mad Nikki Graham took a starring role in a porn vid when she dragged her lover into a hotel bed, but knackered John Cook nicknamed the sex maniac Nympho Nikki because she tired him out with her constant cravings. Yeah, she got thirsty.
I've got a migraine. I need bottled water. What's the time? I actually feel ill.
How do you stop this?
Because I need water. And
How
I
do you
can't
stop her?
drink tap water.
I don't know how to stop it. How do you stop this woman?
I need to see a doctor because I won't have any bottled water. I've got a migraine.
How do you stop it, Lucy?
Calm down, calm down.
Oh, calm down, calm down. That is hilarious. Let's have Tallulah.
Drama queen, water.
Isn't she just?
Oh. In this case, I do actually hate to be a woman, to be honest.
Not all women are like that.
No, I'm definitely not like this. I'm somewhere over the rainbow, I think. But, hey, you.
What?
I want to tell you that I fought my way for England.
You fought your way for England?
Yes.
What does that mean?
I made a fight for England. I spied myself into a German newspaper where my big brother did have an article, and I, in the little corner down there, I said, oh, his little sister says, I'm for England.
Now, who's your big brother?
Scorpions. And they had a big article saying, wow, Germany, win, win, win. And that was me spying myself into the German Hanover, where there are some games in Hanover. And I spied myself into saying, oh, here's a German spy saying, come on, England!
Now, what's your relationship to Uriah Heep again? I know that you've got something to do with Uriah Heep.
Well, I've been on tour with Uriah Heep, and they're just like my family. I know them. They're still on tour. They are in Germany all the time. Mick Box, and they're my friends, basically.
Right, I almost played them today. Almost.
Oh, did you?
I'll play them tomorrow. How's that?
Yeah, well, do it.
Not here, somewhere else.
Well, I've been on tour with Uriah Heep in Germany, and that's the reason why I came over to England, because the tour manager and sound guy, he was a guy I fell in love with, and of course, then I toured with Uriah Heep, and I've actually made some of their stage clothes some time ago. and
what do they wear?
Oh, no, I don't really know, because...
All right, what did you make for them?
Oh, then, top class. It was in the papers, in Metal Hammer. Whoops, ouch.
Whoops, ouch?
I just broke something.
What?
I was so expressive talking to you that I broke some plastic. What doesn't matter. You know, whatever. Just lying on the floor, resting.
You're lying on the floor?
No, this piece of plastic.
Oh, the plastic.
Yeah.
Right.
And, no, they're cool. They're touring in Germany all the time. They never stop. But, that...
Crowds are begging them, but they just refuse.
No, they're fantastic. July Morning and whatever. But
Sing one of their songs for us now.
No,
I'll tell you
I
what, sing it at the end.
I do not.
Oh, go on.
No, I don't, because I haven't listened to it for ages. This is
you and everyone else in the country, yeah.
July Morning is very famous, isn't it?
Oh, July Morning.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I've been listening. I've been born on the 2nd of July, so it does actually have a connection.
What do you think of July Morning by Uriah Heep, Lucy?
I hate it. Very funny.
So what did you call in about?
Pardon?
What was the purpose of this call?
Oh,
I forget.
Oh, all over the place.
All over the place,
Yeah,
as usual,
but
yeah.
Kids definitely need a bit of a wake-up smack.
Like a mad woman's lunch.
No.
Kids need a wake-up smack.
Yeah.
That's a very controversial thing to say, Tallulah.
No, it's fine.
Yeah,
Every now and then, when they go to the top, they just need a little smack, and then they wake up and say, oh, I think I've done something wrong. There's nothing wrong with that.
Wake up and smell the coffee.
Yeah, exactly. I'm doing the same with my budgie. I just run out there with a towel.
Oh, no.
I do, because he goes
You give
over.
your budgie a smack?
No, I run after him with a towel, so he's in fear. It's the equivalent. I never touch him or hurt him, but I just run after him and make him say, oh, I must have done something wrong.
With a towel?
Yeah. I'm waving the towel like the English flag.
I don't know. I'm going to call the RS.
Don't you dare!
Huh?
A few weeks ago, a police stopped me. That's one of the first stories. The police stopped me.
Why?
With blue lights because I had a sign on my bag saying budgie on board, and they asked me to hand over my bag, which I said I do not. And then they
You refused to hand over your bag to the police?
Yeah, and then they...
What was in the bag?
My budgie.
So you had a sign on the back of your car saying budgie on board.
Yeah. And
Where did you get that sign? I mean, who would manufacture a sign that says budgie on board?
No.
Well, you made it yourself?
Yeah.
You made it yourself,
Yeah.
right. Because you actually had a budgie on board.
Exactly in front of my feet.
And they stopped you because they thought you might be proceeding in a westerly direction with a budgie on board. Why? What's wrong with that?
Well, I did ask myself that. First I thought it was funny, and then it turned into they would arrest me.
Because you wouldn't hand over your bag.
Exactly, because I thought there must be something, either it's dog snatching business or
Suspicious,
it's
yeah, dog snatching business. Yeah.
Mm.
And so, when you refuse to... what kind of a bag is it?
It's see-through bag.
A see-through bag.
Yeah.
Plastic, like a carrier bag.
It's I did change the rucksack into habitat for budgie. It looks like a bubble. And he can see through. You can see the leather. There's everything in there, light.
So you take him out for a bounce, or...
I go everywhere with him, yeah.
Well, that must be a nightmare for the budgie, because all a bird wants to do is fly away, right? Because that's the point of being a bird, is freedom. Because you can go anywhere you like. And the last thing it can do is go anywhere it likes, because you've caged it.
No, when you ask people, they see he's extremely happy in their car.
How can you tell a budgie's happy?
Because you feel body language. No, I mean, I'm doing it since 3 years, so I can't be that wrong. And everybody's fascinated. So, well...
I guess so.
Yeah.
So when you refuse to hand the bag over to the police...
They say, one of them said, we are going to arrest you.
And?
I became a bit like a real woman, like saying, why are you? And then, well, I tried to calm down and took my details like normal police officer do once they realized they've made a mistake. And then, of course, they said to me, why is there a budgie and no food and no water? I said, because it's bulimic budgie.
So, wait a minute, So the police were concerned for the welfare of the budgie?
Yeah, absolutely. Top notch.
And they wanted to know why you were proceeding in a westerly direction without any budgie food.
Exactly. And I had to explain that the budgie is bulimic because he would just eat and drink until he's sick all the time.
Your budgie is bulimic?
Yeah. A year ago, I found this out, and I learned on the internet that there are budgies that just eat.
Eat, and then poke its little feathers down its little budgie throat.
No, they come from Australia, and you don't get in nature. You don't have food there all the time. So the nature tells them, just once you have...
Right, I get it. So once food is there,
Yes.
just eat, because it might not be there anymore.
Exactly.
And so they eat till they're sick.
Exactly, and then you learn that you just have to portion their meals,
Right.
and then everything is fine.
Because it's too stupid to do it itself.
Yeah.
That's a
Exactly.
pretty stupid bird.
Well, you just have to train. You know, and I showed them the water in my bag and the food in my bag, and then...
I can't believe that the police would... First of all, that they would even think of that.
I couldn't believe it either, no. It was something out of this world.
But you managed to persuade them that you were not crazy.
Well, I told them to Google budgie stuff, and then they would find out for themselves and to feel really stupid.
I'm amazed you didn't get arrested.
I was amazed.
I would have arrested you.
You would not.
I think I'd have used the taser.
Oh, yeah, you would done the beetle. arresting you and then saying, no.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. In fact, that was one of Uriah Heep's greatest hits, wasn't it? I think you just sang it for us there.
I think
Hey, thanks, Tallulah, but we got to go.
Okay, then.
Cheers, dear. It was Tallulah.
The other day, my young grandson had the cheek to...
Oh, hello.
How are you?
That was a bit sudden, wasn't it? I'm all right, thank you. I've had a lovely day. Yes.
You had a lovely day. What have you done?
Yeah, I went down into Kent one sundown there, and they fed us beautifully and in the garden and all that, and that was really very nice.
Now, is your son, how does he, how's his life working out? Is it to your, complete satisfaction?
Oh,
No.
of course it is if he's happy. Yeah,
Okay.
because, if I hear he's happy, I'm happy. If I hear he's not happy, I'm not happy. It works like that.
Right.
So
But
he sounds happy to me.
Right, but over and above that, do you approve?
Approve? I don't think that's the word that has to come into it at all. Gosh, for your children, you can't stand around saying I approve or disapprove.
Oh, I don't know. I think that's the purpose of parents, isn't it?
Oh.
To disapprove.
Oh, hey, what's wrong with your parents then? Hey, what's wrong with your parents? They
I'm sorry, but
disapproving
we only have 25 minutes left.
Oh.
Anyway, Joan, that's not why you called.
No, it isn't. But then I'd probably call it now for about 3 or 5 different things, and you're only going to let me talk about one, probably.
Go on, then. Well, let's hear what the things. Then we'll pick and. Can we pick and choose?
Yes.
Go on, then. What? Give us a list.
Well, all right. But am I allowed to comment on the thing in the news just now?
Well, what thing?
About Prozac?
No.
Okay. And that's out.
That's out.
That is out. I wish it was. The Prime Minister. It's weird. I think it's just weird. For years I've thought, why do we have to protect our Prime Ministers as though they were gold dust? You know, if something happened to our Prime Minister, saying he was really ill for a while, well, somebody else would be running the country, wouldn't they?
Yeah, John Prescott.
What? Anybody would be running it, wouldn't they? And it wouldn't be the Prime Minister that runs it. The Prime Minister makes lovely speeches with a smile on his face, and he's very, very good at that.
Well, he goes on Richard and Judy and then drops his H's and throws in glottal stops to make him sound like a man of the people, yeah.
Yeah, well, he has a different act for different people.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
He's an actor, and it's lovely.
Yes.
But, you know, he's not important. And so why does he have to have this huge thing about protecting him? Look, protect us if you want to. Protect us and make us feel comfortable. Get some crime off the streets, get some discipline back in the schools, and allow us to smack our own kids if we want to. But why do they give us this idea that we can't live without our Prime Minister? He's another smoke and mirrors, isn't it? So we feel he's that important when he never was at all. He was just a little bloke in university, poodling along, and somebody says, ooh, I could make something of that lad, you know, he'd be a nice little face up front. And then they make him into this puffed up something, we all believe in it, but it's not true.
Now, you're not one of these conspiracy nuts who thinks that the entire world is being run by a coterie of shady business people and that George Bush and Tony Blair aren't actually running anything at all. They're just the faces at the front.
They are the faces at the front.
Oh, you are one of those conspiracy nuts.
Yes. Well, you knew that already, probably.
Well...
Did you? You didn't? No, well, I do think that you have to have the right face up front. That's all it is, isn't it? Look, either the uncle face, or the daddy face, or the I'm one of you faces.
Now, is Gordon Brown the right face up front?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think he is yet. I don't think he is yet. And I don't think Cameron is the right one. I mean, for me, certainly not. But the thing is, it's not important. They're not important. They're making us all think they're important. Why on earth should we believe this absolute bilge? Why don't we all see that you can't be Minister for Education one day and the Transport Minister the next?
Well, you're quite right about that. Yes, what that means is that we're just being run by a bunch of amateurs who don't really know what they're doing. How can you be Transport Minister one day and then the next day be in charge of the NHS?
Yeah,
it's just
you can't
it's
be
impossible.
in charge. It all means is they're making the speeches for the people who are running the show. And the other thing about people who are running the show, who is the actual person who is saying to us, we will not have discipline in schools because we don't like you to have discipline in schools. And, oh, by the way, this is how you're supposed to bring up your children. Who is that one person who is putting this through our whole system and ruining our society?
If only we had a royal family, eh?
Well, what's that got to do with it?
Well, they could take over. We could be ruled by a royal family, if
well,
only.
It'd probably make a lot more sense.
Well...
You know, even the mad ones, because at the moment it's madness, and yet we're not saying this is madness. We're not saying we've got a George the what's-the-name and he's mad. We're saying, oh, it must be right then, because we've got this democratic system where the Prime Minister looks perfectly ordinary and doesn't say totally mad things, so it must be okay. It's not okay. But who is that person that's doing it? Do you know who it is?
I've got no idea who's behind it all. Maybe it's the Wizard of Oz. The man behind the curtain.
So you don't want to know?
Oh, I prefer not, no.
Oh.
I'd rather live in...
bliss.
In blissful ignorance, yes. But you've given us a lot to think about, Joan.
Oh, all right, then.
Cheers, dear.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, very unhappy. I thought I gave her, an enormous amount of time. She was striding across this show. Is she still there? Hey, Joan. No, she's gone. Talking of the royal family, a council preparing for a royal visit went a step further than the traditional liquor paint when it installed windows and curtains in boarded-up houses. The work was carried out on the Mar Policies estate in the wonderfully named Clackmannanshire. Alloa, Clackmannanshire, for a visit by the Princess Royal to a new community building. Craig Holden, a councillor, said Princess Anne was left with a false impression of the area where unemployment is 3 times the national average. Vicky Brown, 20, said, for the first time in years the street looked fantastic. But 5 minutes after she'd left, all the workers boarded up the windows again. Can you believe that? They took the boards off the windows of these empty houses, put actual window frames in, and curtains, to make it look as though they were, being lived in. And then as soon as their Royal Highness left, they ripped the curtains out, put the boards back up. That is just shocking. I mean, the Queen thinks that everything smells of paint, because people are licking paint like 10 yards in front of her everywhere she goes. And somebody painted the grass green for Prince Charles, didn't they? Charlie was going around a couple of years ago to some place, I can't remember where it was, and the grass was not a sufficiently green colour for his eyes to rest upon, and so they painted the grass green. That's insane. And you would think that he would be the last person to appreciate that, because he's all for organic, isn't he? Love his jam. It's fantastic. Can you say that? Yes, because it's all for charity, right? He does very good jam. What else does he do? Very good biscuits. Lovely biscuits. Water. No, I'm not sure about that. Why would you pay twice as much for water just because it's got his crest on it? I mean, water's water, isn't it? Maybe you should buy some water and give it to Geoffrey Robinson. In fact, I've just got a bottle of Avion here. I'll post it over to him, because he's only got 22,000 gallons a day to get through.
Well, maybe Nicky'd like some of it.
Nicky. All right, let's go to some of these others. Have we got time now? I'll do it before the break. Hey, the Sunday Mirror's got... it's got Nicky on the front page there. Every woman in the Big Brother house, they look like... They've got pictures of them looking like strippers. Are they all strippers?
I've no idea.
Reunited on the front page. Exclusive. It's Macca and Heather.
No
Are we stunned
way.
yet? He hugs and kisses Heather in emotional first meet since split. Full story, page 7. Can you even wait?
Quick.
Quick, an ecstasy of fumbling. Name that poem. Sir Paul McCartney tenderly kissed estranged wife Heather Mills in an emotional reunion this week. Stunned onlookers saw Macca give Heather a warm embrace during their first public meeting since their split 5 weeks ago. I wonder if he gave her the thumbs up or the peace sign. If I see Paul McCartney giving the thumbs up with a peace sign one more time, my head's going to explode. I'm going to actually take Band on the Run and break it in two. Has he done anything interesting since Band on the Run? Oh, there was Live and Let Die.
Yeah,
that was a good track.
Yeah.
There was
that great frog track, wasn't there?
Oh, shut up. The frog track. He did that thing with Michael Jackson, They were both working in perfect harmony, ebony and ivory.
Oh, yes. He did actually write a classical works as well. He did a whole classical thing.
Right, nobody listened to that either.
You're
it was
down
a little...
on Macca.
Huh?
You're down on Macca, aren't you? It's Macca thumbs down for you.
I go for the underdogs. People that have been that get built up to heavenly status, like a walking angel among us. I'm like, no, he isn't. He can't be. No one's that nice. But as a nation, we seem to be obsessed with Paul McCartney, and he's like Jesus come back to walk amongst us. He's not that nice. He can't be.
It was the same with Lady Di, wasn't it?
Well, Lady Di spent her... OK, so she got in the paper, and I don't want any calls about Lady Di. Oh, she was mad, they'll say. But, yeah, she did a lot of good. Paul McCartney, is he doing a lot of good? Is he giving his money... Has he given up singing like Mr. Microsoft to give all his money away?
No, but he was helping the seals, wasn't he, the other week?
The seals?
Yeah, the seals that were getting clubbed to death. Well, they probably still are.
Helping them?
He was campaigning with Heather. There were lots of the pictures just before their split.
Talking of split, on the very next page, there's Big Brother's Nikki, and she couldn't get her legs any further apart if she detached them. There's a split for you. Look at that. Can you do that, Lucy? I bet you can't.
No, I can't.
Jade's Jack swept Nikki off her feet. She had a massive smile the next day. Oh, OK, she's been linked with Jade Goody's Jack Tweedy. I can't keep up with who's doing who these days, can you? Jade Goody.
What does Nikki do for a living, normally?
That's an excellent question. I'll read the entire article out on the air, just to see if we can find out.
I'll be really pleased I asked.
Big Brother's Nikki Graham had a secret fling with Jade Goody's toy boy lover. Bubbly Nikki was whisked off They're not about to tell us what she does for a living, are they?
No.
They're probably intimate details of how big he is, but what she does for a living is not really on their mind, no. Big Brother favourite Pete is at the centre of a tug of love between three girls in the house. Because he's the, apart from that dopey bloke who can't close his mouth, he's the only one, and the big queen, he's the only bloke in there.
I watched a bit of The Eviction today, just so that I knew what you were talking about.
Apart from, until next Friday, when it all gets... get weird.
Isn't it? Yeah,
they'd have to do something, because that house is not interesting enough as it stands.
No.
Because they've got another 2 months of this show to go. Can you believe it?
Is it that much longer?
I think it's another 2 months of this to go.
And what you've got to do is, once you've watched it all...
What's that noise?
I think it's Alex's mobile.
What kind of a... OK, Alex. What have you got on your mobile?
It's Philip from South Norwood.
No, not who is it? What's the downloaded ringtone?
Philip from South Norwood.
He's not joking.
Oh. Who's Philip from South Norwood?
A regular.
On this show?
He has called, yeah.
Is he? What does he sound like?
He's an old man and he kind of goes like that. And talks about TV stuff.
And that's your ringtone?
Yeah.
Isn't that embarrassing when it goes off in public? And
it causes untold hilarity.
Can we ring it now just to hear what it sounds like? Have we got the technology? Yeah, go on then.
I can.
You'd have to send me a text, Luce.
Oh, it's got to be a text, has it? Oh.
Oh,
gosh, that could take ages, couldn't
Can't
it?
you just get your phone to sing for us?
I could just play it.
Go on
just play it. That would save a whole lot of bother.
I have
And
to
it would
go
save
into
me
my-
a text.
Go into the
my
menu.
media album.
Try not to take a picture of yourself as you're doing it. What's he saying?
Hoodies.
Hoodies. And that's... I dread to... in fact, I'm not. I'm not going to ask you what happens when someone calls you, but that's what happens when someone texts you. Right. And so what's your number again?
The Amazing Adventures of Cucumber.
I know you're out of touch when even the people on the front pages of newspapers, you haven't got the faintest idea who they are. Gemma's switch to a bitch. I don't even know what that means. Who is that? Gemma... Oh, exclusive pages 40 to 41. I'll give you her full name and you tell me if you know who she is.
Okay.
Gemma Bissix.
No idea.
She's on the front page of the Star.
Can I see her?
Of course you can. Alex, please look away now.
No idea. Is she in a soap or something?
I haven't got a clue.
Quick, go to 41.
No.
Actually, do we care at all?
I'm a real gem now. It's payoff time for Soap's Super Bit. Yes, this is
Soap Star.
Soap Star, you're quite right. The Star, the Daily Super Soaraway Star, My Lust for Pete, world exclusive. BB Lisa tells all. The Lisa was the chain-smoking troll.
Yeah.
The one who had the worst language of anyone I've ever heard in my life.
Swore 88 times or
Oh,
something?
it was incredible.
Yeah.
Her mouth, just awful.
How is that an exclusive, though?
What?
When it was all revealed on Big Brother's
Well, it's just
Exes
comical.
anyway?
World exclusive. What, like the world's papers are begging to get this woman to speak to them, and only the Star has managed to get the story. There's another woman with her boobs out on page 3, just as you'd expect. It's Wimbledon,
exciting.
and she's recreating the scratching her arse shot.
Oh, that's
Army cut. No, okay. This is what I was talking about earlier on. You hear it on this show 1 minute, and then you read it in the papers the next. Squaddies fighting in Iraq and Afghanistan are at even greater risk because the government won't splash out on the latest armoured cars. Soldiers patrol in lightly armoured Land Rovers designed for use on the streets of Northern Ireland. They're no match for high-tech roadside bombs or landmines, campaigners say. And they're wondering why no one's joining up. Isn't it a mystery? No. Well... What bonus are we on if we beat Ecuador tomorrow? Do they work on bonuses? I think they probably do, because they're all on a fee per match. I can't remember what it is, but that nice man earlier on said that they're going to give it to charity.
Yeah.
Like, that's a big deal. They should give maybe a week's salary a month to charity. Then we'd be impressed. They can certainly do without it. But the minnows of Ecuador have been promised, guess what, if they beat England. Which
is it money or is it a something?
It's a something. Because it's a very poor country.
A car.
A car. Close. A cow. That cow sounded like it was from a distant field, didn't it?
It did.
It'll come home eventually. The minnows of Ecuador have been promised an udderly, get it? See what they did there? Amazing bonus if they beat England, a herd of cattle each. The country's cash-strapped president will award each player 300 cows if they score a momentous win in today's World Cup clash. Alfredo Palacio made the offer after being told his government could not afford to reward its footy heroes who dined on roast guinea pigs. What? Hey, I've got cat news. Remember last week I had cat story? A poor little kitten was put on in a 40-degree wash.
Yeah.
And was given mouth-to-mouth resuscitation on its little kitty lips. I've got a cat story again. So we should always have a cat story.
Oh, no. What's the latest cat story?
You're not going to like it.
Oh, no.
The president was also informed that the coach has inspired the team by reading them the stirring fable called The Cow. So he persuaded the poverty-stricken South American country's wealthiest farmers to part with their prized livestock. Of course, we would love to pay them millions of dollars for beating England, but there's no money here. Just one cow is something of real value, and being given a whole herd is unheard of. Get it? I almost want them to win now. That's awful.
Just so they get their cows?
Well, just so they get something.
Yeah.
Because only one of them is earning any kind of money at all, and he gives 20% of his earnings to build hospitals and schools and running water in his old village.
You can buy...
And our lot are spending £100,000 on a handbag and 10 grand on lobster lunches.
And the rings.
And
all
the rings
and
£10 million houses in Chelsea and 175 grand Aston Martins. They've got no idea what to do with their money. It's kind of shocking, really, isn't it?
Yeah. You can buy turkeys and things for people, can't you?
Turkeys?
Turkeys and goats, chickens and goats.
Really? Asses?
I'm not sure about
You can buy
asses.
turkeys for people.
Well, I think
What
it's
do you mean?
chickens. You can buy a chicken for somebody rather than giving money to charity. You can buy a chicken or buy a goat, sponsor a goat for somebody to have.
Or you could just send them a sandwich.
Well, you
Cut
could
out the
do.
middleman.
Yeah, that is another idea. But they might get a bit more out of it, chicken.
than the one sandwich.
And one sandwich, which
Yeah.
will be off by the time
Yeah,
they get it. Yeah.
That's true, yeah. I think I'll leave cat news to the very end because I don't think you'll like it.
Oh, that means the cat didn't survive before we've even heard the story.
The peephole. Sex-mad BB Susie drove me to drink and drugs. Everybody in the Big Brother house also has the most gigantic breasts, don't they? Including that Canadian Queen.
I haven't seen his breasts.
Big Brother beauty Susie Verico adores kinky sex, her ex-husband says. Well, it's not likely to be...
Oh, she's the golden ticket winner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which they're still investigating, by the way.
Oh.
Investigating. Isn't that silly? Martin Hitchcock claimed she later drove him to drink and drugs. Oh, God. Another one of these. Adele Silver. Do you know who she is?
No.
You're as useless as I am.
Is she in Big Brother?
She takes up the whole... No.
Oh.
She takes up the whole of page 3 in the peephole. Bending over backwards she is. Literally.
Is she another soap star?
Yeah, Soap Babe.
There we go.
Which one? No idea.
Let's have a guess. Oh, Emmerdale.
Is that still on?
Yeah.
Kinky Big Brother beauty Susie Verico is insatiable in her lust for marathon sex romps. I mean, come on, marathon... Does anybody actually just have normal sex in the in the tabloid world? It's always like 10 times a night sex romps, isn't it? Oh. In saucy love nests.
Yeah.
The bedroom, you mean?
8 in the bed and...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Busty porn star Leah was at the centre of a major storm last night after admitting she asked for drugs to be brought into the house. Really? And on and on and on and on and on it goes. Madonna is so... Oh, yikes. Madonna's hands. That's horrible. OK, if you don't buy the peephole, just in your newsagent, have a sneaky peek on page 7 and look at Madonna's hands. They look like the hands of like a 100-year-old woman. They're all veiny and wrinkled. It's like a pack of... You know the hands that Rolf Harris painted of the Queen? They look like because she was holding a pack of Wall's sausages? Yes. Until you realised those were actually her fingers. This is worse. Has Madonna been pumping too much iron? Her hands look more like a bodybuilder's than those of a pop diva. Ooh, that's really nasty.
I imagine they're skinny, though.
No, they're kind of...
Are they chunky?
Yeah, it's actually really horrible.
Maybe she's had them plumped out. Because you can't really disguise your age with your hands, can you?
Well, this looks like the hands of a 110-year-old woman. It looks like an old witch's hands.
Oh. That's
Mirror, mirror on the wall. Anyway, we've got to go for a break and we'll come right back.
No, we haven't.
Oh, what?
No.
It says, oh, no ads at 55. Ah, you're trying to fool me, eh? So I can continue leafing through the paper.
Yeah.
We're out at 59:45 or something, is that right?
Yes.
So you want the cat story a little later? Oh, there's the Sun Letters thing.
Well, you haven't got long to get the cat story in now.
I guess not.
Come on.
I'll have to leave it to the end because you're not going to like it.
It's sounding more and more ominous.
This is a letter to the Sun. It was great to see Thea Walcott's girlfriend Melanie Slade carrying a £40 handbag. She is lovely. She is a lovely natural role model for our kids. Somebody wrote that to a newspaper. Professor Stephen Hawking's suggestion that we flee to the moon to escape catastrophe on Earth lacks common sense. Where would we go to replenish stocks? Says Barbara of Merseyside. And BB Susie is plain nasty to have nominated Nikki for eviction, especially after seeing the distress that nomination caused her last week. Jenny Murray, Chelmsford, Essex. Can you imagine writing that to a newspaper? I mean, how much time would you have to have on your hands? That's absolutely ludicrous. But that they would also print it is incredible. All right, have I got anything else?
Just the cat story?
Well, I've got a lot, but I guess I'm going to have to do the cat story now. But you're not going to like it.
Okay.
The incipient animal rights movement in China scored an unlikely victory at the weekend when it invaded a restaurant advertising cat meatballs. You wouldn't think there'd be enough meat on a cat. I mean, how many cats would you have to get through to get a meatball, do you think?
Bit scrawny, yeah.
About 40 activists stormed into the Fangji Cat Meatball restaurant. It's not just they have it on the menu, that's what they do. In Shenzhen, just over the border from Hong Kong, and forced it to close. Outside they hung banners that said, "Cats and dogs are friends of human. Stop eating them, please." Well, it's polite, isn't it? I mean, good manners don't cost nothing, do they? Here it would be, "Death to cat eaters," spelt wrong. It'd be like E-E-T-E-R-Z. Attitudes to domestic animals have recently been seen as one of the great East-West cultural divides. Dogs are a delicacy in Korea and China. Cats are eaten less, but are a speciality in parts of the South, as are rat and spiny ant-eaters and others. I love the taste of cat balls in the morning. Tastes like chicken.
On FM.